Dirty Mike, is that you?
Is there whiskey in here?
Yeah. Welcome to Profession Session. I'm your host, Brody Vinson, and on this show, I interview all types of professionals in all different areas, whether it be business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate stars, any type of professional that's really exceeding in their field, and talk a little bit about what's allowed them to be successful so far. And today I've got Mikey Conlon on to talk a little bit about his MMA career that's budding and how he got into it, and a little bit about NFTs that he's working on. And let's get into it.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, man. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here. Blessed,
Awesome.
man. It's a great day. It's Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday today, so we're getting into the weekend here. How's your week been going?
Pretty good. I've been off the mats a little bit less. I just got back on probably about a week ago, working on Web3, these NFTs, and just bartending.
Actually, interesting segue there. Another thing we talked about kind of off air is that you're taking a month to do Sober October.
Yeah,
are you still doing that?
I think I might have violated that. I'm
Fair enough.
I was doing hookah, and I think that that goes against it.
I guess it's just like whatever you want to make of it. You haven't drank though?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in that vein though.
Yeah, it was a challenge. Like one of my friends challenged me, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. I mean, it's not very hard for me to do. It's just now more than ever, the temptations are there. People want to hang out. And
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I had asked you if you wanted to drink on the podcast, and that's kind of how it came up. I'm curious, what are some things that you've noticed just by taking a little break? Any things in particular?
Well, here's the thing, is that I always tell this to people. I mean, I don't smoke. I really don't. At least not often. Maybe once or twice a year I'll do it, depending on the person I'm with. But drinking, I don't drink often. Like, I really don't. But when I drink
You drink hard.
Yeah. It's like I have a drunk alter ego. His name's Dirty Mike. It's funny. It's from the movie The Other Guys.
Yeah.
Dirty Mike and the Boys.
Dirty Mike and the Boys.
It was coined a few years back on a cruise, and I just think it's hilarious. I mean, it's not like he's harmless. He's harmless.
Yeah.
It's just like I'll tend to wander. I'll get hungry. I'm outlandish and say some funny stuff, but I'm not terrible to be out with. Like, it's enjoyable.
Anything you've noticed just like in the way that you feel like since you've taking a little bit of time off?
I definitely feel a little bit more productive. I, for the most part, like having control of my day and control of how I think and how I feel.
Yeah.
And not altering my status does that.
Yeah. You feel like you just have that control a little bit more consistently.
Yeah. And to be honest, if you think about it, there's people that can't go without it. Like, people look forward to the weekend. Some people drink and smoke daily, and that's not a problem. It's only a problem if it is for you.
Right.
So I just don't see it fitting into the lifestyle that I want to live, and my everyday actions are kind of pouring into the future husband I want to be, the future father I want to be. So I'm not going to be drinking every day. I'm not going to be smoking every day.
Right. And it's just like for you, it's nice to have a little break here and there. Yeah, we're talking about this because I've done a couple little sabbaticals from it as well, just over the years, just taking like a month off at a time or something. I like it because I feel like it just keeps me at like a little bit of an arm's reach of it. Like, I always know that if I needed to really lock in on something, I can kind of just step back and really get clear for a bit.
I mean, if you really think about it, it's a life enhancement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go out with friends, you drink, it kind of enhances the night.
Yeah.
You do it right. If you smoke, it enhances whatever you eat. For
Sure.
the most part. And then we can jump into other drugs, but they enhance whatever you're trying to do for the most part.
Yeah.
That's what I like to think.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think of it too. There's definitely times where I like to go out and drink with friends, and I feel like I have better conversations sometimes. Sometimes I'll drink on the podcast, and I'd like to say it adds like another 30 minutes to the conversation a lot of times, but it's just like it's an interesting kind of perspective on it, just using it as an enhancer.
I don't think this applies for everyone, but with it enhancing, I think it also doesn't necessarily wire your brain different, but it brings forth different thoughts, different convos, different topics.
Yeah.
Because I've had some really cool conversations just out drinking at a bar, things that I wouldn't even think about sitting at like a library or sitting at a gym.
Exactly, yeah. It just puts you in a new lane kind of.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Sober October.
Sober October. Yeah, you'll have to kind of keep it updated. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I mean, it's not going to be very challenging. I think there's a Halloween party coming up, and then my mom's getting married in Vegas. in a week.
Yeah, you had
few
mentioned
days.
you have like a lot going on in October, so it's just not as much of a challenge, just like in general, but just a lot going on that you've got to kind of like just stay clear on it for.
Yeah, it's not going to be very hard at all. And I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. I want to stay consistent with my training. You know, I've had a few obstacles this year. Still going through those obstacles, but I would definitely like to get into MMA competition again, turn pro.
Yeah.
You know, really start to chase his career.
What does a typical week of training look like for you?
Before 2022 has been a big curveball on what I would like to do.
Just getting busy with other things, kind of.
I've been injured since January. You know,
Right, you mentioned that.
Fractured my finger. I've been going to physical therapy ever since, twice a week.
Shout out Dr. Coach Kev that was on here a couple weeks ago. Yeah, you can find the link up here somewhere.
One of my best pals, one of the smartest people I know. He always teaches me. This is our second injury we're going through. He helped me rehab from the first one, which was a hyperextended elbow. I hurt in a fight.
Wow. Okay.
I got arm barred, so your arm's only supposed to go this far.
Yeah.
And the hips on an arm bar shoot through. So it did, and it kind of cracked 6 times in his lap.
Yeah.
Shout out to my pal Corey Taylor, is the guy that I fought and the one that hurt my arm.
Yeah.
One of my best friends now. It's kind of cool how the MMA world works.
Yeah.
Actually, I love that dude. That guy, he's a father. He's a vet. He's a husband. Like, he's just someone I look up to. And we're both Filipino, so it's like I got to fight him, share that violent 9 minutes with him. And now we're like really good friends.
Yeah, that is cool.
I missed that he broke my arm.
Because you would almost guess that there's like a lot of beef between fighters, like, and it's. I mean, I feel like part of it's just for like the whole gambit of it, but I feel like it probably does really bring you close.
I think, and with Corey, it was a split decision, very very close contested fight. That was a big part of my story, and I needed that, and I was fortunate to have it go my way. When it comes to fighting, I like to think of myself as an entertainer. Yeah. I like to keep people entertained in between fights, during the fights, before the fight. Like, I haven't fought the most. You know, I've only had 9 fights. 9 fights in 8 years. It's not very active at all. Yeah. I tend to get in my own way, which is fine, as long as I'm self-aware and I know that. But like I said, I've also fought really good people. Yeah. Like studs, like black belts, knockout artists, wrestlers, brawlers. I've had my fair share of feeling different styles, and no one's finished me, and no one's really ever dominated me. And that says a lot about me. Pretty
Minor injuries that are not too damning in the 8 years that you've done it, in my opinion. You've only had the two kind of injuries, and both things that you can really come back from, it sounds like.
I mean, I've had a ton of injuries in 8 years, but keeping me off the mats, it's been this year. Yeah. I think I was like without training for 4 or 5, almost 6 months, from January
from the finger.
June. Yeah. Still here. It's weird.
Yeah, you could definitely see. Wow.
But me and Kev are working on it. I mean, I can't grip things. I can't even close it all the way right now.
Wow.
Without his help, I can't do it. So when I go to him, I get my flexibility back. We get our range of motion. It hurts really bad.
I can imagine. And the goal is to just kind of keep getting that range of motion a little bit further,
and slowly get the swelling down. You know, there's 4 fractures here. There's a small bone sticking out and torn ligaments. Wow. So I've been having to try to overcome that all year. So I've spent a lot of time in the gym, like lifting weights. So I'd say that I put on size. I had a teammate of mine. Yeah. He goes, I haven't seen him maybe since January, February. It's been a bit. And he's dealing with injuries too. His name's Angelo, 10-3 fighter, pro fighter.
It's a good record.
Really good. But he sees me, and he goes, dude, you're filling out, like you're looking big, and that's like the best thing you can say.
Oh yeah,
that's like one of the best things you can say. So I was like, I mean, yes, I hope so. With me putting on all these like daily hour, all these hours, hashtag daily bread, lifting weight. But I would hope I'm getting bigger. But like hearing that, it's cool because I fight at 155. I walk around 80, 85. Okay. And to get that weight down to make 55 is hard.
That's a big difference. Wow.
And I miscalculated my last cut. I missed weight my last.
Really? Okay. So what happens when you miss weight? Or you're not able to do the fight?
The opponent either takes it or they don't. And I've been on both ends of that. Okay. And I feel really bad for putting my last opponent in that, like, to have to make that decision. Right. That guy was awesome too, by the way. It was my Muay Thai debut. So Muay Thai, like, the different styles I've competed in, I've done jiu-jitsu tournaments, jiu-jitsu matches. I've done MMA fights, small 4-ounce gloves, and then had my first 16-ounce glove, or I think it was 16, 14, 12, big gloves, like boxing gloves. And it was a Muay Thai fight. So Muay Thai is elbows, knees, kicks, punches. Amateurs don't get elbows. I don't think we agreed to it, but we could have. But it was my Muay Thai debut. And this guy was a seasoned striker. He was a great challenge for me.
Yeah.
And it didn't go my way. And that's life. You know, I had my moments. Sure. He had a lot more moments. So congrats to him. He comes out of a good school. Oddly, he trains at my brother's gym. So it's like, okay. I guess if I were to have like a second gym, it would be that place. So it was weird to have to fight them, that the whole thing even went down. But it's
a good little rivalry, I guess.
It's a weird rivalry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have my opinions on it. But
what are some of the craziest rivalries you've had over the years that have led to fights?
Dude, I've had so many beefs. I'm only I look at it like this. I'm only an amateur. I'm not even professional. I'm not even making that run to the UFC yet. Like I essentially haven't even started my MMA career. Until you're a pro, like all the amateurs really don't matter. Yeah. But I've found a way, and I think it's just by being me and how I carry myself, and I talk. And I've talked a lot over the years. And it's not even, I've backed it up. I really have every time. But people have called me out, and I've had beef. And I've had like weigh-ins where I'm jawing off at people, and I'm like in their face, and I'm on social media and I'm tagging them and stuff. And it's just, I think I make it easy to not like me. And maybe sometimes people see like who I really am as the nice guy, and I'm kind of just entertaining. Yeah. So
it's kind of the Conor McGregor model.
Yeah,
a little bit. But he's actually kind of a shitty dude in general. Yeah, like actually,
I like.
It's not as much acting for him.
His rise to the belt and then winning both belts, that was an incredible run. That was very inspiring for a lot of people. No one will ever reciprocate that or do that. But seeing how he treats people after, and like there's all these little moments in time that he's just been shitty. Like I really don't respect him as a person.
I don't either. I liked him a lot until who was it that he fought?
Poirier,
the third Poirier fight when he went down like after the ankle injury or whatever it was, and he said your girls and me DMs or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, like we've seen that injury over the years. Have you ever seen the Anderson Silva kick?
I haven't. No,
it's
same kind of thing.
It was an inside leg kick. And Chris Weidman, both of them used to be champs. Anderson in his prime was untouchable. I don't know if people have ever experienced that, but Anderson Silva, when he had the belt, he won like 16 fights in a row, 8 of them title defenses, and he would just have his hands down. He was just a spectacle. Like he would pack out Buffalo Wild Wings or wherever we'd watch. It was just amazing. So they called it a fluke knockout when Weidman knocked him out with a left hook, and then the whole MMA world was shocked. Yeah. Because after the first round, like Silva's playing with him, putting his hands down. We're like, yeah, he's gonna get him the second round. He's gonna get him. Like he's figured him out. Like that's how it was. And then Weidman knocks him out. Yeah. Fast forward like 6 months, they have their rematch. Weidman dominates the first round, but Anderson's chopping his leg kicks. He throws an inside leg kick, and Weidman. So basically, it's gonna be the top of your tibia, I believe. So like right under your shin. He threw that on an inside leg kick, which would be open stance. So my left foot forward, and your right foot forward. So it'd be like, as opposed to like both of our stances being like this, one stance is gonna be like this. Okay. So he threw it in a rear inside leg kick, and my left leg is gonna be open. Is gonna be orthodox. He like turned it, and it checked it. So like that right under the shin, like wrapped around his kneecap. I'd have to send it to you. Wow. It's kind of brutal. Yeah. But he went down in pain. He went down to the ground in pain and agony. And then seeing Conor with a very similar break in his leg, and then just be like heated, like sitting there, and then yelling stuff into the mic. Like it's two different experiences. And the MMA world's like, yeah, Conor's big on cocaine. It's aging him, this and that.
Really? Okay.
And I mean, I don't know him personally, but he is known for that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's reached. The MMA world, they'll never let him live it down.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he's just had some really, I think, telling reactions to things that really just show that his character is not that great. And it's really hard to, you can't really respect him after some of the stuff he's done.
But he is the biggest name.
He is the biggest name. So there's something to that. And I think it sounds like you're kind of trying to model some of the hype aspect that he's been able to capture and create, but without some of the off the mat problems that he's had?
Because he'll take it too far.
Yeah.
When it comes to trash talk, and I guess like when I was admiring his spectacle of him, rising to the belt, I didn't see that. I was just like, he's one of a kind. He's entertaining. He might win. He's gonna beat this guy and that guy, and he was doing it how he said he was gonna do it. And then he started taking it too far. I'm like, I don't think that I can talk like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like to think about it like this. When it comes to fighting, not everyone embraces it, but some people will have the fight ability, and some people will have the marketability. Very rarely do they have both.
Yeah.
So I like to think that I have both. I don't have.
I think that's what it takes to really do well in this career, right?
I think that that's given me opportunity I didn't deserve over my short, or I guess longer amateur career. I mean, I've had 4 title fights and 8 MMA fights.
Yeah.
So I've had 4 title opportunities in 8 fights. That's cool.
What constitutes a title fight?
I guess being loyal to the organization that you're fighting for.
Okay.
I fought for a few organizations, smaller ones, but I think it comes to the ability to either sell yourself or sell tickets. Like, are you gonna put money in their pockets? Are you gonna bring eyes to your own fight and to that organization? And I think I've always been able to do that.
Bring the eyes.
Yeah.
What are some things that you attribute to your ability to do that?
I'm me. I don't pretend to be anyone else or really mimic anyone else. I'm so me that it intimidates other people who
just the confidence.
Yeah, and it's not even like an overabundance of confidence. It's just I will always be me. I'm very good at doing it, and it intimidates other people because they're trying to be other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone wants to be someone, but no one wants to be themselves.
Yeah, I could see this career just because you have to make a huge name for yourself and you have to drum up all this hype. I could see that drawing that out of certain people, like kind of feeling like they have to be some character to make it. And I think just really leaning into who you actually are and just putting that on display is a better way to approach it.
Yeah, like I've embraced a character. I won a belt last year, or I won a belt in 2020. I defended it in 2021 for Combat Night MMA. Love that organization. Favorite one I've ever fought for. Shout out to Mitch Chamale. Great guy. You'd love to talk to him. You really would. But I won that, and I started this thing in 2020. I grabbed the mic. I'm like, yo, if you yo, where the honey's at? Slide in my DMs. What's up?
Yeah.
And like, it's just funny. Like, it's just, I want to fight. I was really humble and kind. And right after that, like, hey guys, how rough year? 2020 is crazy. Blah blah blah. Thanks for being here. Shout out to my opponent. And then I said that. I was like, I'm gonna leave them with something. Like, I'm gonna let them think about my next fight. Did I expect any girls to message me? No, especially not. No. I don't think belts are gonna pull girls.
Did they though?
I mean, not with that intent. Not with that intent, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want to. I've always thought I did, and it's so against me and who I truly am and my morals. I've always, all small parts of me throughout my life has always wanted to be like the ladies' man.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey's good with the ladies. Mikey's got girls or hoes. Like, I don't call them hoes or bitches. I just don't do that. I'm a gent. I'm a gent through and through, to the core of my heart. I'm a one
guy.
person. Yeah, like one person at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I pride myself on that. So this whole shtick of where the honey's at, put a, not necessarily a pressure, but put a fake rhetoric, is that the word? Or a fake
like a fake persona kind
of who I really am. So people who don't know me, you're like, oh, this guy's a city boy or from boy, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm really not.
Yeah.
But I'm putting out content that's saying that I am. So I was trapped in like a year's worth of just doing city boy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Have you kind of tried to get away from that?
For sure.
Sounds like, yeah.
Rebrand, right?
Yeah, rebrand. Yeah.
But now I'm just really being myself.
Props to you for that, because it sounds like, I mean, that I feel like so many people get caught up in like playing this character in situations like that, and if it's working, like you probably feel like you have to kind of lean into it and keep going with it, and maybe even play it up even more. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's part of what happened with Conor McGregor, but props to you for seeing that and recognizing that that's not you and pulling back and rebranding as yourself.
Like I can build a brand based off like where the honey's at, this and that. I think it's funny. People loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I can still bring it up whenever I want, but I think I will use that narrative in the opposite manner in terms of if you have a good girl, in your life, be a man and like treat her right.
Yeah.
Like, be a gent.
It's a good message.
I don't think that it's cool to have multiple pros, and I've been Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's cool to like play the
Falling
field
into
and
the
have
character again.
Yeah, right. I'm not trying to, but just to have multiple.
Dirty
pros.
Mike, is that you?
Is there whiskey in here?
Yeah.
Jesus, I should have known. I went to the bathroom. No, I don't know, man. I mean, it's just that's just the narrative for men is that. Like boy to boy, like, yo, man, I've got this girl, I got this girl, I got that girl. Like, oh, I've got someone waiting for me at home. And it's never been me. I just never had that rotation or that roster, right? I just never done that.
Do you feel like, or have you noticed that that's prevalent in the MMA community at all? Or would you say no?
Like playboys or like?
Yeah. Like having that kind of mentality.
I mean, it's
Is that common?
It's going to be in every profession, I'd say. Like every sport, you're going to have your football, baseball, basketball. Like I feel like people will leverage their athletic career to do so.
Right.
But what I've noticed, and I'm sure it's in, like I said, every other sport, but what I've noticed in MMA, at the highest heights, as people ascend and get to the highest levels of competition and achievements and success, they have a strong support system. They have that strong woman by their side. Mm-hmm. They dedicate themselves to them, they get married, and then they have kids, and they build a family. So I've noticed, and that's something that I admire so much. Yeah. And as I grow and as the years go by, that's what I want. I mean, and I just think that I have to continue to grow as a person to get that. Mm-hmm. I know it's out there. I know I'm going to be a great father. I know I'm going to be a great husband, but those are different variables. Like I have to make sure I'm prepared for it. Yeah. Or else I could screw all of that up. Because I'm a product of a divorce. I love my mom.
Too.
I love my mom. I love my dad. But experiencing that, I just know that I'm not going to give that to my kids. They're not going to have like an ounce of any type of tension between me and my future wife.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an interesting topic. I'm the product of a divorce as well, and that's something I have thought a lot about in my life. I feel like that it's been so prevalent in our generation that like a lot of people in our kind of age group and generation almost have this like a little bit more hesitation than the last generation around that. And just put a little bit more thought into it, a little more hesitation into like diving into that. But I think it's healthy to an extent to have maybe hesitation is the wrong word, but just being a little more intentional about the way we get into a relationship and the way we conduct ourselves in a relationship.
Boundary setting.
Mm-hmm. We were talking a little bit about boundary setting. Yeah, what does that mean to you?
And it's so, and this is me getting vulnerable, not like crazy vulnerable, but like just letting people know that I love and I'm gonna find it one day. I've felt it. I've reciprocated it, but weirdly, I've actually lost myself within relationships. I've had some amazing, relationships over the years. Mm-hmm. I've met people that I was like, I might marry her. Yeah. One person, I'd say, but and it's something I have to figure out with myself. Like I propose this is going to be where we're going to go. Like we're going up here. This is your career. This is my career, and we're going to meet up here. We're going to build together and get here. And this is the picture I'm painting for them. And at some point, I start to fall off, and it's happened in multiple relationships. And I can't figure out why. So like fall off mentally, physically, emotionally, financially as well. Everything just kind of doesn't click, and they're still going up. And it's just. And if I was in reverse positions, I'd leave. I would leave as well. I just know that it's not a growth relationship anymore. And
it's a thing you're still trying to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know where I was going with that. But we were talking about boundaries.
It could just be that you weren't ready yet.
Yes.
That's the most likely scenario I can think of. Yeah, sure. Happens all the time.
But with boundaries, I think that we don't put enough emphasis on that.
On setting boundaries?
No. And I try to practice that on my friends. And it's not like I'm doing it to get better at it. How do I say this? I'm not putting them on my friends to like on purpose, but it's a self-respect thing. Like there's certain things I won't tolerate. There's certain things you shouldn't say or do to me. And I need to make that crystal clear or you're going to continue to do it. Yeah. And that's going to translate into how I communicate and how I set a boundary when I have that significant other. Yeah. So, and I'll tell you what, it's not, I think when you set a boundary with someone and they don't receive it well, that shouldn't be a reflection of you. It should be a reflection of them. Sure. Yeah. Because I've set boundaries and they've turned into like heated arguments. They've turned into things that they shouldn't have. Yeah. So I'll say like, hey, I don't like this. Can we not? and then they call me sensitive. They put it on me. I'm like, I'm just asking you to stop.
Yeah.
And then they don't know how to accept that. And to me, that reflects how they communicate with other people as well.
I would agree
especially
with that.
their
Yeah.
significant others.
Yeah, I think a part of any kind of relationship, whether it be a romantic relationship, a partner, or just a friend, I feel like any relationship should be able to respect boundaries and understand boundaries.
Like, I think there's a core do and don't. Like, there's core do's and don'ts. But you can kind of see people's judgment, like how they perceive things, based off of what they'll allow and what they do and how they treat people.
I agree.
Like, these are interesting topics to talk about. It's not things I get to talk about often. I guess the most intellectual conversations I have are with my good friend Moy Tyler. Like, I like how he thinks. We get along very well. I think we're both gentlemen down to the core, and we have these conversations. He's one of the only two people that can get me to smoke. So when I do, I challenge where my thoughts go, and I'll smoke with him, and then we'll talk. The conversation goes everywhere.
You've mentioned a couple times this kind of concept of being a gentleman. What are a few things to you that kind of constitute someone you would consider a gentleman? And what does that term kind of mean for you personally?
That's a solid question, dude.
It seems like a very strong structure for you is this concept of being a gentleman. And I really like that term. You don't really hear that as often these days, I feel like. And it seems
I don't think anyone brags about being one.
Yeah. And I kind of like the focus on getting back to that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what it means to you personally.
I think it's timeless. I mean,
agreed.
I'll start by saying one of my biggest, I don't idolize anyone. So it's not an idol necessarily, but someone I've always looked up to and been influenced by has been Frank Sinatra. One, I love his music. I love how his music makes me feel. I love how he sings and uplifts women with his music.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to get into his life, I like how he carries himself. I enjoy the fact that he does things his way. He won't go stray any other path.
I did it my way.
Won't be turned any other way. Yeah. So I guess that's a good way to start. Kind of piggyback off of that, a big influence in my life of who I am, probably the biggest, more than Sinatra, would be my dad. My dad is he's kind, loving, he's selfless. I noticed at an early age how he treated people and how they reacted to how he was treating them. And it was good to them, good back. And it's not that I want that in return. I just enjoyed how he treated people. And he's always selfless and kind.
Just a model for you early on.
So a great influence to have in my life. To this day, I emulate. Because it's my dad. His name's Mikey Conlon, Senior, and I'm his junior. So I have that connection as well. But it's just someone I look up to forever. Will look up to.
So being a gentleman to you, it sounds like, is doing things your way and really having the confidence to do that, but also just treating people well and treating people the way that you would want to be treated.
I'd say gentleman outside of courting women, outside of it's selflessness. It's the genuine care for someone else's well-being, if not the masses. To be honest, it's the only reason, not the only reason, but it's the biggest reason why I want to pursue an MMA career is because I want the biggest platform to give back to the world to change the most lives. And I can build a platform doing other things. I have many passions and interests, but to me, MMA is the hardest thing I can think of to do.
And you have the background of having the skill in it. We haven't necessarily got into that much yet. I guess that'd be a good thing to get into now, but you have the background of fighting that kind of led you into it and got you into training for it that has allowed you to build this really, really powerful skill that I think could take you to that, having that platform.
Absolutely.
So I guess, how'd you get into fighting in the first place? Let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So growing up, and I think this is just a generational thing. I think every generation will experience it. I just think that it evolves as it goes. And to be honest, I still experience it, which is fine. I'm not as phased and I can retort.
Mm-hmm.
But bullying is prominent throughout the ages. I mean, I grew up and I was always just worried about, am I going to get hurt? Am I in danger? I don't like how I'm being talked to or being put down by not necessarily strangers, maybe friends. I think it happens from anyone. You can bully anyone unintentionally. Yeah. And even though I consider myself a nice guy, I'm sure that I've bullied over the years. You know, I might have made someone feel a way they didn't want to feel, or communication. You know, for me, that's probably my biggest challenge this year. I look at communication as sending a message, and then it's how the receiving party feels. So
it's very true. That's a very important thing that you're hitting on for any kind of relationship, by the way, is like communication is not only how you're conveying information, but there's also the side of how someone else is receiving it. And that is equally as important, if not more important.
And that's probably my biggest speed bump this year. I'm not bad at communicating, but I've noticed with different people, there's been things have been misconstrued. And I haven't effectively communicated. So that's just something I need to work on, you know, some more self-awareness. But going back to the bullying thing, man, I've
you dealt with growing up.
Yeah. Not so much elementary, but middle school for sure. And even in high school, it got so bad that I was wearing rings at school in case I had to have that one punch.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I was more equipped, right?
Yeah.
I would walk my neighborhood, and there was a black Mustang I was scared of.
Really?
Because there was a group of friends who were bullying me.
Wow.
And they would drive, and I wouldn't see them, but I was always afraid that they would drive up and all of them just get out of the car and attack me.
Yeah.
You know? Kind of crazy. I've gotten pantsed. So, I used to hate kids did that, but I've gotten pantsed in front of people at lunch in high school. I've gotten bullied where, this guy's like, hey, man, I'm sorry about our differences, this and that. Smacks me and then runs away and laughs at me from a distance. It's just weird. I've experienced a lot of different things.
Kids can be crazy.
Kids are cruel.
Yeah.
So when I have a kid, he's not going to have to worry about that at all. And it's not that my dad missed hitting that point. I don't think he did, because my dad raised me, a big fighting influence as well. My dad would tell us stories. Me and my brother, I was born in Jersey. My dad's roots are Jersey. So every summer we would drive up there 22 hours. And with those car rides, my dad would talk about his fight stories.
Okay.
And at an early age, he was the man. He was knocking people out. He was they called him Kung Fu, which is Conlon, Kung Fu, and he's just good at fighting. He was known as the fighter, and it was just cool. So he didn't know he was doing it, but he instilled in me and my brother's brain that fighting is
a fascination with it, kind of.
Yeah, fighting's in your blood, but at the same time, we still have that fear in the back of our head of the bullies.
Yeah,
that's always been my fear, is getting beat up. I'll touch on this story really quick. It was 8th grade. Oh man, I was such a little shit as a kid, for sure. I would surround myself with friends who were also little shits. And there's this one time we were on the bus. We're on our way home. There's this guy named Eddie. Let me paint you a picture. Eddie was shredded. Nice hair, good skin, good-looking dude, pulled girls, had nice style, and was good at fighting. It was almost like the movie Never Back Down.
I haven't seen that one.
It's a good movie.
Okay.
It's an MMA movie, an influencing factor as well, but for some reason, me and my friends would throw pencils at Eddie in the car or in the bus, right? And that probably wasn't going to end well, right?
Of course not.
So his cousin invites me. Her name's Kayleen. These are popular kids. I wasn't a popular kid, at least not in middle school. So all the popular kids are hanging out at Red Tops. Red Tops is a place, before it was coined Red Tops, Red Tops became a place that people in my high school and rival high schools would go to and fight. It was like a red basketball court. People would fist fight and go viral there.
What?
It was the proving grounds. It's cool. It was actually really cool. But people handle their beefs there, which is not safe because it's concrete. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
But
anyways,
it's the spot.
We're there. Yeah, we're there. And all the cool kids, there's kids lined up, and there's a guy jumping a skateboard over them. It's just, we're all kids. It's after school. I think it was a Friday. We had all the time in the world. I was playing 21, first one to 21 in basketball with this guy named Julian. He randomly asked me to play. I'm like, yeah, I'm playing. So it's just me and him. We're playing. I don't know what's happening in the air. Maybe I'm just not aware of my surroundings. I have those same little shit friends who came with me. And I'm just playing basketball, going about my business. I guess I didn't pay attention to my surroundings. I didn't know what the energy was, what was about to happen. But Eddie comes out of nowhere, my little nerdy Mikey with glasses, and just sticks me 5, 6, 7 times.
Jeez.
My glasses fall off. I'm just in shock. I'm like, what is happening? and I had bumps in the back of my head, like just a bunch of like unwarranted punches. Mind you, this kid's slammed people, knocked them out. This kid's knocked people out. Like, he's just known for that. And it could just be, smoke. It could just be rumors to add to his prowess, right?
Right.
So I like take my glasses, I put them back on. He walks up to me, hey man, I had to get that out of my system. Are we cool now? Are we good? Dude, so embarrassing. All of the cool people saw that.
Yeah.
Like, all of the popular kids of our middle school saw that.
Yeah.
And me and my friends, the ones that what were we called? The midgets. Like, there was like a group of older high school kids, and then there was like the middle school kids. We were called the midgets just because we were like younger and we were just up to no good at all times. So like they were like, with me, and they didn't know how to like comfort me. Like, you're the biggest soldier of the midgets just got beat up in front of everyone. So I had to go home and I had to sit with that. I had to sit with that for years. Fast forward, that's easily probably like the biggest form of bullying I've ever experienced.
Yeah, that's pretty major.
Yeah.
I think I would venture to say most people haven't gone through something that major.
No. But life goes on. High school happens. Still got bullied in my freshman year. All of those things I told you happened. And I loved basketball growing up. I played a little bit in middle school, some recreational, off organizations and stuff. I got kicked off the JV team and then went to wrestling. I don't know how I stumbled upon wrestling, but that's a big part of my fighting.
That's a huge entry point, I would think.
I'd probably say that was like my base. So I wrestled for a little bit. I had a new band of brothers who were,
the wrestling team.
Yeah, I'd say wrestling's a great background for self-defense.
Sure. It's the only one that's like a school kind of sponsored sport that you could get in through. Yeah. Most of them, like, you gotta kind of do it as an extracurricular.
So it's cool how life works. I don't know how far I could have taken basketball, especially with my work ethic back then, my mentality back then. I don't think it translates, so I couldn't have taken it very far. But it's cool how I stumbled upon wrestling, which added to the anti-bullying and to self-defense, and it built my confidence up a little bit. The bullies were still kind of there, just like kind of fading off. The bullies completely nullified my junior year.
Yeah.
I didn't wrestle my junior year, but I had a fight video go viral.
Yeah, you were telling me a little bit about this off air.
And that's just a lot to handle as a kid, to be honest. And viral now is not the same numbers as back then. Like, I didn't need a million views to be like the man in high school and the man in the county. So I tore my meniscus my junior year of high school, so I wasn't on the wrestling mats. I ended up coming back for my senior year and then winning my varsity spot.
Nice.
But my junior year, it was a quick 30-second fight, man. I think I sent it to you. It's just in and out. Like, it wasn't red tops, which I wish it was, because it would have just added to the prowess. It probably would have been worse because I slammed the kid.
Yeah.
Right? But the first exchange, I immediately trip him and I get full mount. So my hips above his hips, terrible place to be. And especially in MMA, it's the second worst place to be. So I'm just punching him down, and you just hear. Oof. That's what it sounds like. Just punch. His friend walks up, hey, get up, puts a foot on me, like, get up. The fight was already over. That fight is over.
Yeah.
So I basically beat him twice. This kid was just big shit talker. Was always like, I'll mess up all the Conlons, I'm gonna hurt you, blah blah blah. Because I think he didn't like how I was talking to a friend of his on Facebook. It was a girl. I think a girl named Alexis or something.
Are a lot of MMA beefs over a girl?
Dude, you'd be surprised. My most recent one is over a girl.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that too. It's freaking hilarious, dude. And the entertainer in me takes that and
runs with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the enemy here.
Yeah.
But it just so happens like the whole honeys thing makes me the enemy.
Yeah.
Because it looks like I'm in her DMs and I'm doing this and that. I'm just not that. Anyways, so we get back up. There's a few exchanges. I throw a head kick. So random. Throw a head kick. He blocks it. And, I'm swatting down like his incoming punches. He doesn't hit me once. And then I just throw a big overhand, cracks him. He like grabs like my body or my legs, and I think it was a fireman's carry takedown, but I had his head here, and I just reach under, grab his leg, up and over. Not on his head, on his neck, because like you play with worst case scenarios, that whole thing could have been worse.
Yeah.
And if it was on red tops, that'd be bad too, right?
Yeah.
So slam, and then boom, boom, boom. Video cuts out. I immediately, hey man, are you okay? Blah blah blah. That's the nice guy in me. I'm like, are we good? We're cool now. We're good. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We dip. We go home. I'm with two of my best friends, Michael and Eric Shetman, and my brother. We go home. It was like in and out, like less than 5 minutes. All of that happened. We go back to our house, which is like 2 minutes up the road, and we're like, that was awesome. Blah, blah, I got the video. Blah blah blah. I eventually posted on YouTube. It got maybe like 4,000 or 5,000 views. It got taken down 6-7 years later. So this is 2011.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it got taken down. I don't know why. Because there was like World Star back then. People were telling me to submit it to World Star, make some money back then. But I took that YouTube video and uploaded it to Facebook.
Okay.
After that, no more bullies. Mikey's the man. Mikey can fight.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
What
Mikey, this and that. It was complete.
What year was this that you uploaded?
2011.
Yeah, I feel like stuff was, if you put videos on Facebook back then, stuff could go really, really crazy. Like it could just blow up.
I don't remember how many likes. I don't remember the month that I posted it. It would be cool to go back and look. But it's so, to this day, I can post it. Someone would be like, this video plays in my head over and over. Like, I'll never forget this video. Dude, you're the man. Like, people still love it 11 years later.
That's crazy.
Like, I can post it tomorrow, and there will be people who go like, oh, I'll never forget this. And it's just, it's ingrained in people.
So that video happens. Is that one of the first moments that you kind of feel like, oh wow, this could be a thing? Like I could go somewhere with this?
I wasn't sure.
Not really yet?
I wasn't sure. But people were painting the narrative for me.
Yeah.
Mikey, MMA. Mikey, the fighter. I went so far to create a fighting group out of it. Not necessarily like have people fight, but we get together once a week. It was every Wednesday. I called it Tampa Fighting Championships. So like Ultimate Fighting Championships, you know, UFC, whatever. Tampa Fighting Championships. No fights organized, but 1 week we would do wrestling in the park. The other week we'd do Muay Thai. And then sometimes we'd spar.
Just kind of working on different areas.
Yeah, and I've gotten beat up. Like I was the man, but like I I sparred a guy who had good Muay Thai, and he just kept kicking my legs, and I'm just like trying to hit him, and I just there's levels to everything. It's like just a little bit of Muay Thai training really messed me up, hurt my leg, hurt my calf. You know, it's cool to think about, but I knew that I had a strong interest in it. I was a natural at it.
People are telling you, people are kind of reaffirming that for you as you go, and like letting you know like you're good at it, and like you're entertaining, and
all of this fear that I had growing up was kind of pushed to the side every time I'd fight someone. Yeah. So before that fight, you know, I had a few fights before that as a kid, as a teen. I had a fight like probably like a month or two before that. This random kid messages me. His name's Ryan. He goes, it was on Facebook. He goes, "Hey man, you want to fight?" And it was like it was a random, no context, no nothing. I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah, sure, gloves, like something." This is before the viral video, and oddly, this video had like 5 times, 6 times as many views. It had like 40, 50,000. I mean, my math is off, but it had like 50,000 views in comparison to the one that actually like brought me all the attention. Yeah, because of who I beat up and how I did it. But this kid, he's like, "Yeah, man, you want to fight?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah, sure." I thought he just wanted to train or like whatever. And I said, "Gloves?" He goes, "No." I'm like, "Okay." So the Shetmans that I brought up, they lived a few houses down. This guy came over. We went to their backyard. It was like, all right, well, we're going to fight. Yeah. Like, I guess we touch hands, and just immediately I like swing. I get him on the fence. There's a fence behind us, like a wooden fence. I pick him up and I slam him. There's wrestling right away. And then he throws a triangle on me. So that's where you have one arm in, one arm out, and his legs are around my neck. Oof. If he cut the angle, he can choke me out. Yep. And this one honestly was worse than the last one. I pick him up and like almost like a Batista bomb, slam him. Oof. But I slam him so hard that like his back, I don't know what happened. I don't know if there's any injuries, but his back, he like turtle positions up. Yeah. And then I get on top and start punching him, and then they end it. But that one was way more brutal than the last one.
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the video that really popped?
That popped, but not within my high school or the rival high school.
Gotcha, kind of outside of that. Yeah.
But that was just like if they click that one, they'll probably see that one too. So it was just kind of like, oh man, Mikey can bang.
Yeah, and you've got these couple viral videos, so to speak, like early on.
It's a lot to take in. And I didn't stray from who I was. I was a nice guy. I wasn't going out to parties and trying to, like hook up with girls. I was always the DD. Like I would like let my friends drink and have a good time. I did become the popular kid. I became really popular actually. Sophomore year, I don't know how to gauge that popularity, but I won Homecoming Duke, which is like, I guess each class had it was basically a popularity contest within your peer group. But I also had a friend who was like DMing everyone like, hey, vote for Mikey. Hey, vote for Mikey. So that probably helped, right? But fast forward to my senior year, I think I rode the momentum of being a fighter and nice guy. I won prom king.
Wow.
Which is probably when I peaked, and now I haven't done anything since. But
no, you've continued fighting from there.
Just kidding. But no, it's just I had 2 different experiences in high school, and I can absolutely tell you the latter half was better.
So it sounds like up to this point, right? You've kind of like you've identified this thing that really helps you feel confident and get past some of those fears that you had as a kid, and really help propel you forward through that, and it really like gave you a much better experience in high school than middle school. How does that eventually become? We talked about when your first organized fight was. You're kind of doing these different fights, getting some are really exploding on videos and stuff. How did you decide you were going to do your first organized fight?
Before I get into the competition of everything, I'll get into what martial arts specifically is, because the self-defense went hand in hand with fighting. And then fighting became martial arts, so it goes hand in hand with martial arts. But martial arts is what you do to get good at fighting. Yeah. So I fell in love with being a student and what it does for my life. Doesn't matter the discipline, and you can get this type of euphoria or this type of fulfillment or sense of belonging in any other discipline, and honestly in any other thing in life. You just have to find what makes you feel the most alive, and for me that was martial arts. I don't like who I am without it, and throughout that 8 years I've been competing for 8 years. Throughout my amateur career of 8 years, every time I am without it, I don't like where my life goes. I don't like who I become, and that's a big part of who I. When I'm in relationships, I kind of fade as well, and it's never the girl's fault. It's just me. It's a self-assessment. It's me, and I need to figure it out. I think I have, but
it's like the learning curve of being able to have both of those going on at once. I guess it's a lot. A relationship's a lot of work, right? So to be able to put in the time that it takes for all that work, sometimes other things lack a little bit of the time that you were giving to them before. It's just a learning curve of being able to like do all of that at once.
Like I've had that support system that I so badly crave to chase this dream and to chase my goals. Yeah. But I just haven't been able to maintain it. That is what it is. But I don't know where I was going with that.
We were talking about, you were kind of explaining where the love of martial arts came from for you, and you wanted to kind of set up like the competition, the discipline around martial arts before you got to like the organized fighting.
I'm glad I got to get into that. So that fight happens. I graduate high school in 2012. I go to a Christian college about an hour away from. I grew up in Tampa, Florida. I went to Lakeland for high school, Southeastern University, private Christian college. I seeked out my first MMA gym. I Googled a few places. I recommend if you are getting into MMA or jiu-jitsu or any type of martial art, try everything in your area. Like literally try every other class, try every other place. It's more than just the quality of training. It's got to be, you have to bond with people there. Yeah. Like people have to make you feel welcome. You have to have that sense of belonging.
It's got to be a place that you can keep going back to and feel good about, right?
And you can pretty much find that anywhere, but to the average person, if they walk into a jiu-jitsu gym and they don't feel welcome, they're probably not coming back. Yeah. Because one, jiu-jitsu's
I bet it's
hard.
Intimidating too.
It is just hard.
And I bet it's intimidating just walking into something like that and like
for sure
getting into it for the first time.
For sure. So I started training jiu-jitsu not even very seriously. I consider full-time training like minimum 3 times a week. I wasn't doing that. I was probably doing like once or twice a week. In college, I was going to this place called Champions MMA. I started doing gi jiu-jitsu and no gi jiu-jitsu, a little bit of striking classes and sparring. Still very green. I took a bunch of how do I say this? I took a bunch of different detours to try different passions. Like I did network marketing in 2013. I didn't end up finishing college, and then back in 2014, I was back in college, and I just realized that it's kind of taken away from what I really want to do. I'm like, I kind of want to fight. I kind of want to train and just do this full time. So I committed myself to it.
What did committing yourself to it look like at that time? You haven't done your first organized fight at this point, but you decide just you're going to train a certain amount.
I'll preface it with this is an amateur career. Year 8, I still make amateur mistakes. I just missed weight, So I don't know how to scale what you should be doing. I just know what you shouldn't be doing, and I've done a lot of that. So back then, I started training at this gym called Gracie Tampa West, and it's so cool, man. It's so cool to see. I'll put emphasis on this. I think it's very awesome that I'm still going. I still love it, and I still want to be a part of it because I've seen so many talented people quit or let life get in the way. Get relationship, family, career, which is okay. That's everyone's journey. But I've been around people who have a higher ceiling than me, or have more potential than me, could take this farther than me, and they don't even realize it clearly. And they've put the gloves down. They've stopped training, and it blows my mind that I'm still going.
Yeah.
But in 2014,
8 years is a long time.
It is. So people can look at on paper, Mikey's 5-3 in MMA. Not a super impressive record. They can look at the fights spread out in between. Maybe he didn't figure out life in time, or maybe he just took a bunch of breaks. I look at my years of fighting as the years that I was active. So of those 8 years, I only fought 4 of them. There was like another 3-4 years where I wasn't active. So I don't count that as active years. I'm still training. I'm still getting better. But active years you're in the competition scene.
Yeah.
So back then, Gracie Tampa West, dude, we had, I'd say killers. This is Tampa. So there were so many amateur fighters and pro fighters. I was in the Gracie Tampa network, so a big jiu-jitsu driven gym. It was just a big shed. It was very hot, probably like less than 10 minutes away from my house. We'd go in there. It would be jiu-jitsu for an hour, no gi, so just shirt or rash guard, shorts. We'd grapple, learn some techniques, and then after that, on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I believe, we're MMA sparring. There was like no striking classes. Like I was not getting any better at striking. It was just jiu-jitsu. It was just all I knew. So all the big fighters in the Gracie Tampa network would come to Gracie Tampa West and spar us. So if I had cameras or footage of what the beginning, because this is 2014 is the beginning of the career. Like everything I did before doesn't really count, to be honest. But if you had a live peek of what my training sessions looked like, even in jiu-jitsu, it was just me getting beat up all the time. Very humiliating.
Yeah.
Every punch I land, I get hit 4, 5, 6 times. Don't know how to defend everything. I can get why people quit so early. It's demeaning.
Yeah.
And to this day, I get beat up to this day. I get beat up every week.
Sure.
It's not as bad. I think maybe I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
I've found a way to incorporate sadism and masochism into you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I enjoy hurting people. I don't mind getting hurt. You kind of have to.
Yeah. Do you think that's what kind of allowed you to get over that curve of just the really huge hurdle of starting out and just like getting your ass handed to you all the time and like having to push through that?
There was no light at the end of the tunnel when I started.
Yeah.
Like if you told me, hey, Mikey, you're gonna win a fight. Mikey, you're gonna win a belt. Mikey, you're gonna do this or that. Like if you laid all of the accomplishments in my amateur career in front of me, like hey, if you just keep going, you're gonna get all this.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen it. And it's cool that I just didn't quit.
You were just doing it for the love of the sport and the love of competing.
I think everyone has a little bit of I think everyone has greatness in them. Unlocking it is hard.
Yeah.
I still don't think I've unlocked it. I think I'm very far away from it. But I know that it's in me, and there's things that I have to do, and there's a bit of consistency I have to implement for me to feel that and to be that. I think I've shown myself, and I've shown others. I've definitely shown others, like little spurts of greatness, because I see people believe in me, and I see how people treat me when I'm not doing the things I should be doing. So if I'm not going to the practices I should be doing, if I'm not running the miles I should be running, if I'm just missing sessions, the people who believe in me and see what I see in myself are kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that over the years. Like the people who have high expectations of me see the potential in me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't even see the potential in me. It's hard to wake up motivated. It's hard to continue to do this sport.
It is.
It's a very, very
especially
hard sport.
every day for a long period of time. But I think you have to surround yourself with those people that do see the potential in you and can be a sounding board and also really keep you focused on that end goal.
The only reason I'm in Orlando or have stayed in Orlando is because of my MMA team, Fusion Excel. So if my coach, Julian Williams, wasn't who he was and has accomplished what he's accomplished with his coaching career and his athletic career, there's no way I'd still be in Orlando. I would have ventured somewhere else or gone back home to Tampa, because for me, Orlando is life on hard mode. I am constantly figuring things out, and that's the key word is I figure everything out. So I'm not worried of any obstacle that comes my way because I always beat it. But it's very hard for me to see the light at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah.
This is still going,
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that I have to like figure out. So fighting is what's keeping me in Orlando. I told myself I want a minimum of 50 fights. I have 9. Professional and amateur career, I want 50 fights total, and I have a minimum of 10 years left in the sport.
Kind of leading up to like your first organized fight, what was like the impetus for like you deciding you wanted to do an organized fight, and like
I was just
what told you were ready?
I was training consistently. I don't think I'm ever going to be ready. You can prepare. Yourself the best that you can. So I started training at Gracie Tampa West. I was there for upcoming 8-9 months. I got my blue belt in 6 months, which is expedited if you ask. The jiu-jitsu community, that's very fast.
Yeah.
Whether or not I deserved it that fast.
You were putting in a lot of training, it sounds like.
Yeah. I still couldn't get my mentality, diet, everything right. That's still a challenge nowadays. Sure. That's its own challenge.
Yeah.
But, I was on the mats. I was getting better. I got my blue belt that summer 2014. And then I remember getting booked to fight. I think I told my coach at the time, Bamboo, that I wanted to fight. And he booked me for a fight within his organization. I think he was launching his own organization. It was Gracie Fight Night. So I think, that was my debut. Cut the weight. Like I said, I don't know all the things to do, but I sure as hell know what not to do.
Yeah.
Here's what you don't do after you successfully make weight. I weighed in. I cut from 203 pounds to 170. I did it.
What does that look like? How do you go about that? For you personally, I'm sure it looks a little different for everyone.
The weight should slowly fall off as you get closer to the fight.
Yeah.
I think your body kind of primes itself. You kind of know what's going on. Or about to go on. It feels like life or death, dude. Like fighting is a big mind fuck. It's absolutely like one of the you can have a basketball game, a football game. There's some type of nerve to an extent. Think about being half naked in front of a crowd, like with your overall health in jeopardy. Like it's just all of that's hard to process. It never gets easier.
Yeah.
But traditionally, fighters are about 15 pounds or less over their agreed weight class, and throughout that week they water cut. Like they water load and then they make a weight cut. It's a really very, very unhealthy system.
Right. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. I mean, it's
so.
Aren't they trying to institute a lot of rules around some of the hacks to doing that in the UFC to try to like cut out some of the unhealthy practices?
The best way to refuel would probably be an IV, and they don't allow that anymore.
Gotcha. Okay.
But for instance, ONE FC in I believe it's Japan. It's an Asian MMA organization. It's just as big as the UFC, but in Asia. Just not a lot of people know about it. It's not very mainstream. But they have a different way of weight cutting. So like they don't encourage, like they do hydration testing, and then they don't encourage you completely sucking yourself out to make weight. Because if you look at some of these fighters on the scales, they're just shredded. Yeah. Their faces are pulled
like
in.
gaunt. Yeah.
Because
and that's the dangerous part is the dehydrating, right? Yeah.
And I did mine the wrong way. Like for instance, before I get into the first fight, my last fight, this is August 20th, fought my Muay Thai fight in Tallahassee. I thought that I water loaded correctly. So I started Sunday. Sunday 2 gallons, Monday gallon and a half, and then proceeding gallon, half gallon, half gallon. So half gallon Thursday morning. That's my last bit of water. Maybe one more meal, and then 24 hours, no food. So I was getting the weight off, but I was also a little bit heavier that week than I traditionally am for a fight week.
Right.
And we're a few hours away from weigh-ins. All of my teammates, we're all at an Airbnb. They have cut the weight and they're ready to weigh in, and I'm not. I'm like 5-6 pounds over.
Jeez.
But I have white lips and I'm spitting up blood.
Oh my
God. I don't think I'm gonna continue going.
Yeah.
I feel like death. That is the most that I've ever felt like death.
Yeah.
But I just think there was something.
So because you were just that dehydrated.
There's something with my preparation. I didn't prepare myself enough.
Yeah.
Because when you're cutting water weight and you're not allowed to eat, you're suffering. You're suffering hard.
I did a 3-day fast one time with a friend just to try it, just to like see if we could do it.
How was it?
It was tough, man. It was really tough. Like we purposely kind of decided not to do very much during that. Like we weren't
working out or
not working out, like kind of light, just like mostly it was like over a weekend. So we weren't like working as much. We're like a little bit toned down just with a roommate of mine. So we're kind of like just taking it easy for a couple days, but just kind of wanted to try it to see if we could do it. And then we ended up getting invited to this this WWE fight, actually, for just like someone gave us a free ticket because they had extra. So we went and we were there kind of like watching and there, and we were just realized all of a sudden we had no energy. Like I've never felt such a feeling of zero energy. Like you
like
just
sluggish,
just sluggish. Yeah. Like, you almost like don't hear things around you as quickly. Like you just lose a little bit of like your sense. It's just crazy. It was wild. What are
the benefits of a 3-day fast?
The really health wise, I think it's going a little bit overboard. I don't know. There's probably like different things. We didn't necessarily approach it from the health directive, but we were just trying to kind of do it as a way to challenge ourselves. Like we had both done a lot of intermittent fasting before, and I say going a little overboard with the 3 because I think this is past where you would need to go to get some of the benefits that I've gotten. The intermittent fasting for me, the biggest benefit is that it gave me the ability to kind of go about my day without being as attached to needing to eat like at certain times in certain ways, that kind of thing. I can kind of like, it's kind of a secondary thing in the back of my mind now, right? Like I can, if I miss breakfast and I don't eat until 12 or even like 2-3 p.m., it's not that big of a deal. Like if I get busy with work or something, it's just like, okay, probably time to eat now. Like it's just like it doesn't rule your life as much when you get a little bit used to it, and you can kind of like sit in that ability to be hungry a little bit, and it just gives you a better kind of like control of it. I would say that's the benefit of kind of intermittent fasting for me. But the 3-day fast, I say, was going a little bit overboard. It was just kind of like a discipline thing for us. We wanted to see if we could restrict ourselves to that. Kind of going back to what we were talking about with the taking a month off of drinking thing, just like having any one thing rule you is an uncomfortable thing for me. So I like to challenge myself in that way. And it's just a moment of challenge.
Would you ever do it again?
Probably not. Probably not. Honestly, it was really, really tough. It gets like just mentally exhausting, but I don't regret trying it once. It was a very interesting thing to just challenge myself with.
That's a challenge in itself. That's amazing.
It's tough. Probably couldn't have done it if I wasn't doing it with a friend. Like we kind of were accountability partners through it, but
that's a huge thing.
But yeah, so we were kind of talking before that about like just the process of, you know, cutting weight and everything and like what goes into that.
It's terrible.
It sounds intense.
I wouldn't recommend it on anyone. I think that bodybuilders and physique competitors do it as well, to suck themselves dry with their physique for their competition, the flexing and maybe even lifting.
There's all kinds of stuff that goes into that. Yeah, I've heard even like bodybuilders will have to they'll inject like sites like different parts of their muscles with like the stuff that like makes your physique blow up a little bit more. There's all kinds of
kind of like SpongeBob, just
literally anchor arms. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, there's bodybuilders that end up passing away at like 29, 30 years old because they just do terrible things to their body.
That's like self-love to an extreme.
It's too much. Yeah, I mean, I thought about getting into it at one point when I like first was maybe like 3 years into lifting, and I was just like, I actually was a personal trainer for a while. I got really into it for a while, and I was thinking about like getting into bodybuilding at one point, and I kind of just realized like I did not want to have to do some of the things that you have to do to your body to really like excel in that world. It's intense.
It is. I'll tell you what, I do enjoy lifting.
Me too.
I grew up a fat boy. I really did.
Me too.
The majority of my life is I've just been chubby. It's not the best, most confident body to walk around with. So I think weightlifting counters that for me.
Yeah, it gives you control over it, right?
Yeah,
so it allows you to
sculpting the body you want.
Yeah, it allows you to kind of like take control of your narrative in that way.
And I'm still not where I want to be.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's gonna be a forever chase.
It is. That's the key, right? So that's what keeps you doing it.
And I like gym culture. I do enjoy gym culture. I meet people, but I don't like to interrupt people.
Yeah.
While working out or lifting.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. You know, and
you get locked into your workout
because, like I said, I've been injured, all year dealing with an annoying injury. But I go to Crunch, and I've been in that like gym culture. You see the same people a lot. You see, you know, you see the trainers, you see the workers. Like you familiarize yourself with people who are not necessarily strangers, but you don't know them personally.
Yeah.
So I'm just always in that environment. But I just don't know how. Like, it's not even like a fear of like breaking the ice. I just keep to myself. Like, I am absolutely an introvert. Like, I know I am. I have just had plenty of opportunities to be an extrovert, and I enjoy and I like talking to people, but I do love my alone time.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird.
You got to have both.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
So kind of talking about your first fight, how did that first fight go, and what did you learn from doing that? The first organized fight.
Terrifying. So, and I'm sure that other, you know, when people fight, it goes differently. For me, it was like one of the ugliest fights ever.
Really?
Not in terms of like we're going back and forth, we're really beating each other up. It's just like
Just messy.
Go. And I'm just throwing the wide, like every punch, I'm trying to hurt him.
Yeah.
Every punch wide, like just not technical, not skillful, just and it was enough for 9 minutes of fighting to win the fight. I think I won maybe all 3 rounds, but it was just like I was just trying to crack him, and I was hitting him hard, I was throwing hard, almost no straight punches. It was just, you can tell it was my first fight.
Not thinking about the fundamentals.
No, not at all. I mean, you gotta remember I didn't have any striking.
Yeah.
So I guess my advantage would have been on the ground with jiu-jitsu, but it only hit the ground like once or twice. I had a strong group of supporters for the fight, so
You were all hyped up.
I'd throw a punch, maybe hit his shoulder, and my crowd would go crazy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the most exciting fight. How do I say this? It wasn't like it was a high like I've never felt, but no one's gonna watch the fight and be like, that kid's the future. It's gonna be like, what the.
But it was enough to excite you and give you a good time, a good first experience with it, it sounds like.
I've felt many things in my life, different euphorias, different achievements. There's nothing like winning a fight. It is a high that can't be beaten. It really can't. Winning a fight is different.
I can only imagine. You see it in the eyes of like someone when they win a UFC fight, like at the end of it, like just the absolute insane excitement that they have.
But on the other end of that is the extreme opposite. Losing is crushing.
Yeah.
I've never been finished, or I've never been, like knocked out, submitted, but losing is still not easy.
Yeah.
I always tell myself that it doesn't define me, and anything that and it propels me to the next thing. So
yeah.
I don't let it define me. I let what I do after it define me.
Yeah.
I've come back from some dark places to win some meaningful things. So I just lost this last fight in August.
Yeah.
But I have all the ingredients, the mindset, the people, no yes men. I have a great circle. I have good people in my corner to propel myself to something great. Like I can kind of like a bow and arrow. I'm pulling myself back a little bit, but the launch is going to be spectacular. Like I know that there's something on the horizon, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I don't know when, I don't know where. Maybe I know who.
You mentioned having no yes men. How is that? How did you come to the conclusion that you need to keep yes men out of your circle, and what did that look like for you? It sounds like something that you maybe realized at some point.
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily I've kept around yes men. I've won fights, I've had successes in life, meaningful achievements. I've had people root for my successes, and maybe those same people root for my losses. You'll never truly know. But what I do know is that I pride myself in the people that I keep around, and I'm trying to alternate that every month. So think about it like this, and this is a very, very true statement. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So
I think about that a lot.
I don't spend a lot of time with all 5 of these people, but there's going to be a 5 no matter what. So I don't evaluate as much as I should, but I like to look at who I reflect, or I like to look at who I emulate, because they're taking something. When you spend time with someone, you're taking something from them and vice versa.
Yeah. Maybe
a little mannerism, some energy exchange, some intellectual exchange, or something that you get from being in the presence of someone else.
Yeah.
Given that, you're not complete strangers, right? But
it's true.
I constantly look at my 5. I like my 5. Every time that I evaluate, sometimes I question one of them, 2 of them, but I think
it's just part of the evaluation the evaluation process.
Will
right?
Smith said it once. He said, if you're not making someone else's life better, you're wasting your time. So I hope that the value that is being instilled in my life is being reciprocated.
Right.
And sometimes I feel that I don't think I'm a bad friend. I think I'm an excellent friend. I think that I go above and beyond to show support and love to my friends, to my teammates, to my family. And I fear that, like, when it's like not when it's reciprocated, but when someone outdoes my niceness, or I guess maybe I'm just feeling that back, and maybe it's just I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
But when I'm at an angle to where, man, I feel like I just can't give it back.
Mm-hmm.
I have a base of what I provide as a friend, and a good quality. Like I'm a solid, rock solid friend. I never have to question myself, and if I do, I fix it, right?
Yeah.
But if someone goes above and beyond for me, I don't know how to do that back to them. I just feel like I'm at an angle. Like, let's just.
I feel like it's a little inequitable
like
at that point.
I'm a type of guy that'll take a friend out. Like, hey man, like let me buy you lunch.
Yeah.
You know? So when that's like reciprocated and given to me, I don't know how to react.
Right.
You didn't have to do that. Like,
it just like comes natural for you. Like it's just you feel like it's something you want to do.
Yeah. So I guess when the kindness is given to me, I'm not used to it. And I don't judge friendships based on that. But like I said, quality of life.
Yeah.
Where you're either pouring it into it or you're taking away from it.
Yeah.
But yes, men. For instance, if I like the color pink, are my friends gonna follow exactly what I say when I change to that color? Like, maybe it's not the best example, but what I've noticed in sports is that winning breeds yes men. People will want to be around you and be a part of your success and say, hey, I know Mikey.
Yeah, any super famous person, right? You always see like a kind of a posse around them, right? Like they've got kind of like a crew and a posse around them, and I think there's always going to be people kind of trying to attach themselves to success rather than find success for their own. So I think it's important to realize that and not let that be your only circle of five, right? If you're talking about that circle of five and you notice that you have people that are kind of trying to attach to your success, and even though they might be propping you up and supporting you, they might not be challenging you. And you always want to have people around you that are challenging.
And that applies to relationships too.
Absolutely.
I don't see myself dating someone that doesn't challenge me in an aspect of life, that doesn't value me and in life as well.
Yeah.
So I don't put myself in enough positions to meet her, but I also I don't even know where I was going with that, dang it.
Well, to finish that thought, maybe I don't know where you were going either, but I mean, I think when you are not looking for her, that's when she finds you, right? Yeah.
Yes, which is what I'm being told from people that are in those,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, I mean, with my core five, I'll break it down even more. Like, I'll have five that challenge me to be a better fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 or 4 that challenge me financially, and then there's a few that challenge me emotionally and like intellectually.
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly trying to read books and listen to podcasts that make me a better person. So when someone's pouring, hey, you should listen to this, or hey, you should read this book, like or an exchange of thoughts and ideas.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
This might be a question I start asking more often. It just kind of like popped into my mind. What has been the most persistent thing that has been on your mind that you would like to improve about yourself, whether it be something in your career and your personal life?
That's a good question.
Probably a tough question. You can think on it a little bit.
Yeah, but like the first thing that I think of is just how I communicate.
Yeah, you did mention that earlier.
I don't think I'm bad at it.
But it's something that you actively want to improve on.
But until the messages are being received by a greater amount of people, then I'm not eloquent at it yet.
So
I don't think I'll ever be. I think it's a process.
It is. Communication is always a process.
Because it does vary to every person.
Mm-hmm.
I can communicate with 8 out of 10 people, but I still have those 2 people that I don't.
Yeah.
And that may be good for
You're trying
some.
to figure out how to bridge that gap.
I want 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10.
Why do you think communication is the thing for you?
Because I just feel that it's a key that'll unlock a lot of different doors for me and help a lot of other different people.
Yeah.
So if I'm communicating on all fronts with every single person I come in contact with, I'm not only making sure that I'm best prepared in my life, I'm helping other people be prepared too. And I think about this all the time, dude. If I'm not my best me, then I'm robbing other people of having their best life, because I think I'm good for people's life. Like if you let me into a certain proximity, if I have a certain amount of care and love and support for you, I think I absolutely make your life better, and I can help you achieve the goals that you want, and I can support you 100% of the way. But if I'm not my best me, then maybe a small percentage of me is taken away from what could have been.
Yeah.
For me and for
you
my
lose
friends.
a little bit of that ability to provide that if you're not your best self.
Like, how am I going to be a good parent if I'm not my best me? How am I going to be a good husband?
Exactly.
So there's a lot of, and maybe I reach a status to where I'm proud of where I'm at, but I think when I get there, I definitely want to keep going. I definitely want to keep going and growing and learning.
I think this is so important in any aspect of your life, whether it be your career, your personal life, relationships, whatever it be, is that you always have the mentality of you're never there. You're always going to be trying to get to a better place, and you should always be trying to get to a better place. You've never arrived. You're always improving.
It's all about the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of there's no destination. It's learning to enjoy every single part of it.
Yeah.
And I will say, you know what? And this is something I've thought about as well. When it comes to dating, I think that I place an expectation or a bit of pressure on my significant other, and I don't know if I'm doing it on purpose or if they're just wanting to become that, what they think I want out of them, or who I think that I want them to be when we're together. So they'll start to do different things, which is you change in a relationship. You change all the time, with or without a relationship. You're constantly changing. But I think that they mold to a lot of the things that I like, which is cool. Kind of a yes man, yes girl, trait. I don't know if it applies to all girls, but I'll just notice that
just experiences
they'll start to mold into what they think I want them to be. But I just want them to be themselves. I had another thought. Don't know where I was going to go with it, but I think that I do place an expectation or pressure. But I'll tell you what, the more time that goes on, like, I'm in no rush to get into a relationship, but there will be a certain set of, not even guidelines, but, this is what I'm doing. I hope you're doing the same. Like, I'm constantly working on myself. I'm constantly trying to grow. If you're not, then I can't. Like if we're both going up here and you stop, like just like what I broke down earlier, then I'm not going to, I'll have my hand out to help you, but I'm not going to wait.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not kind of getting that same sentiment from it, like it'd be hard to relate to someone if they're not relating to you on that level, right? Like, it's just, there's a fundamental kind of lack of relation in that case.
There's a lot of plug and play when it comes to relationships.
What do you mean by that?
In terms of, I think it all starts with attraction. You have to be attracted to that person physically. I think that's a very, very important need. I don't think it's shallow at all.
Yeah. It's a biological thing that is there. It's
because
a thing that's there.
It's not that I wouldn't give the time of day to someone I'm not physically attracted to, because my perfect match could be someone that I'm not even like physically attracted to. But to have that window of finding that out, like finding out if that's my person, it's not like I wouldn't entertain it.
Yeah.
And I just think that's just how we work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if we get past the physical, like the outer, there has to be some type of intellectual click.
Yep.
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you've loved before. You've had relationships.
I've got a girlfriend right now. Yeah.
So like, there's a special like puppy stage, like puppy dog stage, and then there's
the honeymoon stage. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an amazing experience. And then there's like, at a point, it becomes a choice. You kind of choose that person, and then you choose to do life with that person. So both feelings are incredible. You have to work towards that, because I think I've started relationships based on the wrong motives.
Would you say maybe like kind of falling for the idea of something versus the actual thing?
I've seen futures with the people that I've dated, but I think that I wasn't ready. That wasn't my best self, which showed. I think I not fumble, but I think I just fall off every time. Like I've pinpointed, but I'm not too worried about it moving forward, to be honest. But no, yes, man. I have people in my life that are not hesitant to check me, and they do it often. So not only am I hard on myself, no one would be harder on me than myself. But to hear Mikey, you're doing the wrong things, to hear, where have you been? Like, what are you doing? Like, to have that in my ear is nice.
Yeah.
As opposed to like,
It's always going to drive you to be better.
yes,
It's going to help with that.
of course. And with this most recent loss, it's cool to have, it's cool to see who is still pouring into me and still investing in me, like still supporting me, because it's hard for me to even get that motivation and that drive. It's
Yeah, it has to be like a very difficult hurdle to get over after a loss. But it seems like you're in the right space. I mean, it
wasn't terrible.
Recent, you said it was in August, right?
August 20.
Yeah, and we're only in October now. It seems like you're really pretty focused and laser directed towards the next thing.
I'll tell you what, though, what I've noticed with this last fight, it was fun. It went well. No one was hurt. I had my moments. I hit him hard. He hit me hard. I gassed. I got hurt. I got hurt. Sorry. He hit me some good stuff. But what I've noticed is that if my life is not in order, it spills into my athletic career or my athletic adventures. So in a sport full of variables, in a sport that is just so crazy and wild and anything can really happen type of thing, to not have my life sorted out, I like to think everything's I like to think that everything in your life comes with you into that competition, into that fight. So there are some things that I didn't sort out in my life that were following me into the fight. So I guess demons, and it could have ridded me of how I could have performed.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
we'll never
the focus,
we'll never know.
It sounds like the focus now for the next fight is kind of getting those things in order in your life.
I want everything to click.
Yeah.
I'm in no rush to fight, which is funny because I'm going back and forth with this local guy.
You told me about this, yeah. Do you want to get into that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll start off by saying I like the kid. I think he's funny. I think he's a good fighter. I just don't think he can beat me. Not even close. And I think that Instagram is our stage. Our trash talking is the trash talking are our scripts, and I'm very good at it. And I feel like a bully, to be honest. But it's been back and forth. You know, I pulled out of my January fight. This kid's name's Jonathan. So pulled out of my January fight because of this finger. Still dealing with it. He takes the fight, wins the fight, wins an interim belt because I was champ. I'm not champ anymore. And then he calls me out on the mic, which I think is funny. Mikey's a rap motherfucker. I'll see you when I see you. I'm like, cool. I responded to it.
Yeah.
Posted about him. I love the drama, and people are invested. I think that it'll sell. I don't know when. I don't know how or where. I'm personally not rushing into a fight.
Yeah. But you're in the talks for it. Could happen.
For sure. He's 145 pounds. I'm 155. So,
Okay.
One, we're not even the same weight class. He would have to come up to me. And I just don't think it's a good matchup for him. I don't know. I don't see what he sees in his skills that apply to mine to where he can beat me. I know where he's most dangerous, and I'm excellent there.
There you go.
To be honest, I think that my best me, everything in life clicking, my training's going well, my mentality's going well. I don't think it's very close. I can toy with him. I think that I can make it a 3-round fight to where he feels everything and regrets being in there with me, or I can put him out and get him out of there really quick. Both are statements. One's more severe than the other.
Does any part of you worry that, I'm going to ask a tough question here. Does any part of you worry that if you are that confident about it, he's a lower weight class, he would have to come up for it, and it might not even be that challenging for you? Is that the best fight to take? Or should you take one that's more challenging?
Every fight I've had was hard.
Yeah, fair enough.
Every fight I had was hard. I would consider him still a hard fight. Like I said, he's a good fighter.
Yeah.
He's got 4 or 5 wins.
And you said he had
he's got 2 belts too.
Yeah.
So like he's
2
won.
belts, okay.
He's got his formula and he's got it in a short time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he hasn't fought me. He hasn't fought me.
Yeah.
And I'm not anything special. I'm not. I don't know what people look at when they sign to fight me. I don't sign when they agree to fight me. I don't know what they analyze. I don't know what they study. I have plenty of fights out there. I have plenty of content. I put out plenty of content. If I had to study myself and I see, oh man, this Mikey can strike, Mikey can wrestle, Mikey has great jiu-jitsu, Mikey has a good clinch. I do have holes. I know what my holes are. But if you just see that I'm good at everything, How are you going to figure out what my hole is?
Yeah.
And how are you going to plug and play your skill set to beat mine? Because I pride myself on a very well-rounded skill set. I do multiple disciplines. I'm trying to become very, very well-rounded. I'm training to have a style that applies to anyone that's standing across from me. So a one-day notice, I get a new fighter. I want to be able to more than just plug and play our skills. Like I want to be able to just beat that guy, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm eventually working for. And I've watched his fights. Same applies for him. You know, I've done my homework, vice versa. Every fight you should do your homework. I just don't. I see the plug and play, and I try to break it down. I just don't see something threatening me. How he thinks he can.
Sounds like you should do it.
I know. The whole dude, not the whole world, but
what's holding you back?
Life.
You want to get everything in order before you do it.
The last time my life wasn't sorted out, I took it into the fight. So there's no excuses there. The guy beat me 2 out of 3 rounds. So
you had one at least.
Maybe if life was sorted out, I could have had another like a better round. Maybe showcased a little bit more. But it is what it is. Like a guy that I fought was really good. Yeah, he had a ton of fights. You know, a lot of experience, and it was my first time trying out Muay Thai. Something I've always wanted to do. So, just something off the to-do list. But yeah, I'm gonna get that kid. I am. And there's no such thing as overconfident.
Do you think you have an idea of the things you need to see in yourself to show you that you're ready for it? Or do you think that's something that you'll just, like, it's a feeling you'll have when you get there? Does that make sense?
I think that I'll know.
You think you'll know?
I definitely will know. I'm not rushing it. My goal before he called me out last Monday again. Then again, during the hurricane, I did National Sons Day, and I took a picture of my cat, and then I put a picture up of him. So I guess I kind of I
stoked the fire a little bit.
For sure, we've been doing it all year. But I was like, Happy National Sons Day. Here's my firstborn, and then my bastard son. Like just people love that I call him my son. It's so funny.
That is funny, yeah.
But that I told myself last Monday, I'm like, I'm just gonna stay consistent with training. I'm going to get my weight down, and I want my coach and I want the promoter to be like, hey, we've seen you've been putting in the work. Like, are you ready to fight now? Yeah. I wanted that question to be asked. I didn't want to just ask for a fight, which is what I did in my last fight. Like, hey, I want to try a Muay Thai fight. Oh, here's your opponent.
You want the people around you that are watching for you to be ready to see it in you
ready.
And say, yeah, you're ready.
We think physically you're ready, mentally you're ready. Like, let's get you going.
Okay.
So I'm in
that makes a lot of sense.
I'm in no rush. And my coach, Julian Williams, he's like, I want you to smash 1 or 2 more amateurs, and then we'll turn you pro. Yeah. Mind you, I train with pros all the time. So
1 or 2 more, or 2 or 3 more?
1 or 2 more.
1 or 2 more?
But
so you're pretty close.
I constantly gauge where I'm at. Like, I'm training with pros all the time, so I know I have an idea where I'm at.
What are the the markers of being pro in this sport? What does it take to be called pro? Is it like a classification by a certain organization?
So when I turn pro, I have a brand new record, 0-0.
Gotcha. Okay.
The rules change. The fight's a little bit longer. You have more weapons. Knees and elbows to the face.
Is it a thing that you can? Is it a thing that you just kind of declare when you feel like you're ready, or is it like you have to be recognized by someone in a certain organization?
No, I don't think you need that, because there's a lot of people that turn pro that shouldn't.
Gotcha.
So I think the minimum in Florida is 5 fights, and then you're legally able to turn pro.
So you legally could do it now, but you want to enter the space ready.
There's no
you don't
way.
want to jump the gun.
There's no way I turn pro without my coach's blessing.
Right.
Why? I'm defying him.
And he's seeing you all the time when you're training. He knows your holes. He knows whether you're ready or not.
Julian's special, man. It's funny. He's a big reason why I stay in Orlando. But when I first met him, he made a highlight off me. It was funny. He did like a robot, and then threw a low kick and swept me on my butt. It was funny. Yeah. First day I ever met him. It was funny. And then when I started training under him, and I moved to Orlando, I had a girl bring me out here, an ex bring me out to Orlando, lived with her, and he told me, he's like, man, you don't even know how to jab, which is like the most basic punches. You don't even know how to jab. Like, you're the worst amateur I've ever seen in my life. He's like, I don't know how you want to fight. That's what he said to me. And this is like...
Caught your attention.
I mean, yeah, it did. But going from Tampa to Orlando, I thought I was well-rounded. I thought I had a good skill set. I thought that I was dangerous. I already had a championship belt. I didn't have not a bad record, but I was like I have 3 wins, 3 losses going into being his student, and like I've been around.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was that bad.
Yeah.
And there he is, like, you're just one of the worst.
He just immediately was able to identify these things that you didn't even know were holes. So I think
at an early stage, he kind of planted in my brain that I don't care about people's approval for the most part, but I care about his.
Yeah.
Maybe some of my like close peers who have what I want in life. Because I've always told myself this, and I tell other people this, don't take advice from people who don't have what you want in life. My coach has what I want in life. My teammates have what I want in life. Success, coaching, success, fighting career. My coach has both. He's a 12-1 pro.
Wow.
He should have been in the UFC. For some reason, they just didn't sign him. I think they liked him better as a coach.
Yeah.
Which, because if you know,
well, maybe he had the technical expertise, but not necessarily the marketability that.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I'll tell you what. No, yeah. He doesn't care about socials. He doesn't care about promoting himself. He just fights.
Yeah.
And he's excellent at it. Like
I think that's what you need in a coach more than anything.
Yeah, like he's coached some high-level people. Have you ever heard of Lyoto Machida?
I don't think so. No.
It's just cool to see the full circle of like the MMA world, and there's just like big names on the mats training under my coach. So
12-1 pro, doesn't really care about the marketing, but it sounds like he's just tuned into the actual fighting. Like he gets it. He gets it, and sounds like. I mean, you came in, you started training under him. He immediately identified things you didn't even know were wrong with your craft, right?
I still have things wrong with my craft.
You still have things wrong with your craft, and he's probably going to always kind of push you towards being better.
When it comes to coaching, I've seen many great coaches in the sport from afar. So I've seen just a lot of success with the coaching aspect to the student. That's an important relationship as well. But the biggest thing for me is with Julian, he teaches something and then he does it to us and we can't stop him.
Right.
So like he'll physically show us something and then we can't stop it. He just turned 40.
It's not just theoretical when you hear it. He's actually showing you that he can.
And I've seen him
and backing it up.
Do whatever he wants because like everyone gets it. When you're going with Julian, the second it hits the ground, you're done. Yeah. No, you just don't get up. Like I'll show you a video later. You know, like he just. They call it gluing someone to the mat. So you just don't get back up. You just don't get a position again. He just beats you up.
Yeah.
Just relentless. So think of Khabib, but a jiu-jitsu black belt.
Yeah.
And I've seen him flatten out black belts, UFC fighters, highest level fighters, heavyweights. Like just it doesn't matter. Like this man has completely emancipated multiple people, including myself. I've been on like you can't go around with him without feeling it.
Yeah.
On top of that, he's a great striker.
There you go.
So just and then the cage wrestling,
got the full picture.
He's got everything.
Yeah.
So to see the success and the ongoing success, for instance, he's in Vegas right now. One of his homegrown students, one of my good training partners, one of my good pals, Lucas Alexander, is having his UFC debut this weekend on a week notice.
Wow.
But the guy, we all know the guy's next level.
Yeah.
So they flew out, week notice. They're both out there right now. And the amount of homegrown people he's taken to the highest level, to the UFC, he's gotten a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that same trajectory or that same path or is willing to put in the work and take the sacrifices it makes to get there. But the ingredients to succeed are there.
Yeah.
Fusion Excel in Ocoee, Florida. I have 110% faith. Like, this is where I want to start and end my career.
Yeah.
That's why I choose to stay in Orlando.
Unless
something goes crazy wrong. You know, then I have to move.
But you've seen him take people there. He's continuing to take people there, and he has the record behind him. Yeah, and he has the culture. He knows how to.
It's a culture of excellence. To be honest, I've been there for 3 years, and I've seen so many. Like it's very rare when we lose.
Yeah. And
when we lose, he takes it out on us. That practice, that next Monday morning practice is always hard.
Yeah.
He like tries to break us. And he shit talks us while he does it. He's a special dude, man. I'm telling you. But
so, kind of going back to my question, I had kind of asked like about what it means to go pro and everything. That's the biggest thing for you is if you don't have his blessing, you have no business doing it. No. And this is your bought in. This is your guy. You know he's going to get you there, and for him to actually give you the blessing, that's it. So it's exciting then probably to hear that he feels like you're a couple away, potentially.
But he doesn't get that. Like, my last 2 MMA fights are studs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at the times that I fought them, 4-0, 4 finishes. Corey Taylor. 4-2, 2 finishes, 3 finishes. Owen Vining. And both of them are still winning after we fought.
Yeah.
So Corey is like 6-1 now. And Owen's like 6-2, 7-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
So these guys are good.
Yeah.
And those were my 2 hardest fights. And I beat them both.
Wow.
He is like, you're not out here finishing these amateurs. You're an amateur. He tells me. I'm like, damn it. But dude,
he's always going to hold you to that higher standard.
You to me, how I carry myself, how I think I'm a pro. I just don't think I do all the things to be a pro.
Yeah.
So like skill wise, I'm a pro. I think I'm a pro.
This
I
leads
dedicated
perfectly.
to that life?
This leads perfectly actually into, and I'm going to go a little out of order with how I usually do the podcast here, but you're setting it up perfectly. One of my kind of repeating questions that I ask on every interview is, because the show is called Profession Session, right? Mm-hmm. So I ask, what does it mean to you personally to be a professional?
I think it's an all-out commitment. And during my amateur career, I've gotten by without doing that.
Yeah.
I've found ways to win, and I've won when I didn't deserve it. So I know, and I feel like I've always known, and not necessarily am I feeling the pressure of father time or time clock. I am more than afraid of what I can do in this sport if I commit myself, and I just never have, and I don't know why, and I can't figure it out.
So you're trying to figure out what it is that's holding you back.
Like skill wise, I'm a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a pro MMA fighter. Skill wise,
yeah.
Mentality too, and I have great work ethic. But there's things that aren't clicking for me to be there. Because if I was putting people out how I know that I can, how I should be,
yeah,
then I would have been a pro by now. Julian wouldn't second guess that I'm an amateur. It's just a completely different world where I'm everything I think I can be. So it all circles back to me getting in my own way in various ways. Injury-ridden or just making poor decisions that don't contribute to the overall picture of me wanting to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But what it means to be a professional is to master said profession or craft. There's no reason to do anything or to pick up something if you don't want to be the best at it. And I've always looked at the highest level of my sport. I mean, delusional to think that I can beat them at this moment, but the goal is to climb that ladder and to give myself the opportunity to try. Because I think about this constantly. If I don't chase this MMA dream, if I don't chase my dreams in general, how am I going to set an example for my kids? How am I going to tell them you can be whatever you want in life, and Dad wasn't even everything he wanted to be?
Yeah.
I feel like I would be robbing them of something. I'd be robbing them of that confidence, of seeing their dad do what they want and provide for them at the same time. Like when it comes to dating and growing as a man, like I want kids. I so badly want to be a dad. I so badly want to give my mom grandchildren, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not that man yet.
Yeah.
I'm striving to be. And as long as I know I'm on the way, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
No matter what the pace is.
I love that. That's awesome. You're gonna get there eventually. You're not in any hurry or rush. You're gonna get there the right way.
For instance, my 2020 fight with Corey Taylor, I brought him up a few times now. Amazing dude. Amazing dude. Lockdown, I was 213 pounds. In a relationship, spiraling.
Yeah.
My lockdown routine looked like waking up, drinking an energy drink or making coffee, Call of Duty, or a video game.
Yeah.
Or while my girlfriend at the time was working or working out.
Yeah.
And I was just gaining weight, eating whatever I wanted,
Yeah.
using food stamps to eat, like microwave pizzas and like all this stuff. Just the worst type of foods. In my head, it was like, I might, like, I was thinking apocalyptic, but maybe the world's going to take a turn and I'm not going to be able to enjoy all this food ever again. But in the back of my head, I also knew at some point, Mikey, you're going to have to get your shit together and you're going to pick up this MMA career.
Yeah.
This is a 2-year layoff. I was still at Fusion. 2-year layoff. But I haven't fought since I lived in Tampa, and I was on a 2-fight lose streak. So to go from 213,
a lot of tough things going on at once.
And then the breakup happened,
Yeah.
which is not the fuel to why I lost all this weight and took that fight, but it's just all part of the story.
Yeah.
I went from 213 to 155, and it took that fight, 2-year layoff.
Huge difference.
2-year layoff, 2-fight lose streak to fight a guy who was a 4-0 stud, finishing everybody. Terrifying fight that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
In my weight class, to be honest, that's what I heard. No one took it, and it's funny because like Lucas, the guy that's fighting in the UFC this weekend, and this is the status, or this is where I'm trying to get to again, right? Be on the mats and train all the time and dedicate myself to the sport because it's hard to balance everything else if I'm not training. Everything else is hard to balance. So I was on the mats, I was training a bunch, I lost all that weight. Combat Night posted, we need someone for December 19th, possibly a title fight depending on who it is, for a 4-0 guy. Message me if you're interested. I saw it. I didn't comment on it. I was like, still training. I knew I wanted to fight eventually. Lucas tags me. I'm like, damn. I comment on it and I go, I definitely don't deserve it, but I'm always down to throw them things. Like, I'm always down. And it ended up being that guy. Super hard fight, breaks my arm. Super close fight, I win the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how did that feel when you won? Against pretty much all odds, it sounds like.
I did so much mental work that fight camp. Not only was I putting in the time, there was in my notes I would write down, or I would type in every hour that I trained. So at the end of this fight camp, I had all of these hours, over 100 hours. So any self-doubt that I had, I was like, man, I deserve
You
this.
did the work.
Yeah, and then I would write to myself. I'd write little notes to myself, and I'd scroll and read them. And I also had a big board where I would write things down. So like, born a champion, all I see is gold, win. I'll just write things down, and like I'd wake up and look to it. I have a board. I'll have to text it to you. And it's cool that I was talking nice to myself.
Yeah.
So there's this crazy feeling. You're sitting in the back. You're about to walk out. All these thoughts are in your head. Whether you're going to get hurt, whether you're going to do the hurting. People come back to the locker room all fucked up. You know, like it's just a weird, cold place to be. It is. Especially, and I was main event that night. So I just had to I had 2 other teammates fighting, but they were in the other corner. Yeah. Weirdly. They were in a different, they're in a different locker room. So it's just me by myself. Yeah. My coaches eventually came. They cornered me. I did so much mental work to strengthen my mind. When I walked out there, I didn't, in my last 2-3 fights actually, so my last 3 fights with Fusion, I walked out there with 0 nerves, which is uncommon, but it's how I talk to myself, and then how I kind of downplay what fighting is. Because like I told you, it feels like life or death. Yeah. You have your date, and I try to get ahead of it. Like if my date is December 19th, December 20th, I give myself something to do. We're going to brunch. We're going to a dinner or whatever. Yeah. I try to make it in my own head that there's life after it. So so
it doesn't feel like life or death.
Yeah. So I'm walking out there and I don't feel anything. Like usually it's like and then you're trying to hide it. To me, I'm just walking out. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Oh, I'm in the cage now. Bing. I'm like, oh, we're going. But I try not to because it's the worst feeling in the world, dude. Yeah. I don't know what anxiety feels like, but if there's the closest I felt, it has to be that. Yeah. So my first 6 fights, just terror. Mikey, you're walking out. Oh, we're going, and then my song plays, and you're in a state of fear. So that walk is hard.
I can imagine.
From the locker room to the cage, very, very hard. Yeah. They call it the walk. It is. It's just that's what it is. It's just we all have natural stage fright. Being in front of people is terrifying.
Especially
it's amplified.
With stakes like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've gotten ahead of my own mind the last few fights, and it just took a lot of work. Yeah. And I want to kind of try to build on that. And
sounds like a huge differentiator.
I couldn't do that this last fight camp. Yeah. Well, my life wasn't.
Yeah, you said you had other things kind of affecting it in your personal life.
Being pulled a lot of different ways. Yeah. A lot of demons to figure out. I'm not in a terrible place. Yeah. But there's still things
But you didn't have everything there like you did before.
I haven't maximized my life. Yeah. Yet. And it's an ongoing process.
Well, it sounds like you know what you need to be doing. It's just a matter of kind of executing and putting all those pieces in place for the next couple. And these are kind of the pivotal ones, too, it sounds like. If you get these ones right, then you're going pro.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to watch it.
Thank you, man. I hope to make a fan out of you. Anything that I do outside of fighting is to fund and supplement fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had multiple jobs throughout the year. Throughout the years, I would consider myself a hospitality professional. So I've worked in pretty much every position there is to work in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked bars, hotels, fast food, not fast food, sorry, fast casual. Like I've worked a lot of different ways, and I would consider myself a hospitality professional. But it's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. It's a means to getting you to what you really want.
If all I had to do was wake up every morning and train, not have to worry about money, that would, like, if I got paid to train, that's a dream come true. That's hard to do, though.
That's kind of the place you get to eventually in the UFC, right?
Yeah.
To an extent. I mean, you get kind of locked into a contract, so to speak, with a fight, and then that's kind of funding your training, right?
Yeah. It would be nice to reach that. That's just such a long thing and a long thing to try to achieve.
Yeah.
So that's.
But for now, you've got to supplement that income and fund the career that you really want to make for yourself.
It's a big sacrifice.
Yeah.
To do that, like, if MMA wasn't in my life, I think I can succeed in anything that I choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to succeed in all those things as well as MMA, it's hard to not spread yourself thin.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make it go hand in hand. I'm trying to have a 1 and 2, MMA, and then my number 2 I can make it anything. I have so many different passions and interests that what I've noticed is that anything that I put my time into, I find success in. So it's just where I decide to put my attention.
Yeah.
So now it's
MMA.
MMA, but I guess my secondary would be like NFTs, cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, because that's kind of like the other big thing that's kind of come onto the scene for you the past couple months. How did you?
So brand new to me.
Yeah. What are without getting like too out of your depth with it, I guess what are like the top 3 takeaways that you've had just getting into the space?
It's the wild, wild west. I've lost crypto by clicking the wrong links and having my money extracted from my wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Self-inflicted. Can't even be mad at who did it. Don't even know how to pin who did it. I don't know who did it, to be honest. So I guess that's one. It's just a free for all.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end of that, so 1A, this would be like attachment to that, is there's some amazing people on that in that space, and the majority of that space happens to be on Twitter, but it's another way to bring community and there's a lot of passion and interest within the space. So it's easy to bond with people, it seems. Number 2 would be, it's a way of taking control of your finances in a way. So it cuts out the banks, and NFTs specifically are kind of like keys to doors and opportunities, and it's basically a membership card. So if an NFT community has 1,000 pieces of artwork, you can own as many as you like, I'm sure, but each person in that community, like it brings people together.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say a certain NFT community rewards you for being a holder. Like maybe they'll pay you or give you merchandise. Like there's all these different perks. It's not just screenshotting something. Like you have to have a wallet. You have to have proof of ownership.
Yeah, you can trace it back to the original ownership and everything.
Like people dumb it down to like, oh, why would I buy an NFT? I could just screenshot it. I'm like, you can do absolutely nothing with that screenshot.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to do anything.
It's about the actual intangibles that it
like you can't sell that screenshot.
Yeah.
So, and then I guess the third thing would be the long-term utility. I'm still educating myself and I'm still learning. I'm very brand new to the space. But I see the longevity in it. I see that it can be here 5, 10, 15 years from now, and it feels like a passing of the torch, but I'm very early on it.
Yeah.
And it is the bear market. Like crypto's taking a big dive, but that's the economy in general. So all cryptos are kind of struggling, but I think the stocks are kind of going the same way.
Yeah. The whole market right now is kind of down. I feel like we're like kind of in a recession right now, or like bordering on one. So it's kind of just the biggest thing I would say about that is it's kind of just understanding that's the place that we're in, and not like getting upset or anything by it. But honestly, I think it brings a lot of opportunity. It's a good time if you really buy into crypto, or you really buy into the market and its long-term viability. It's a good time to buy in and buy some crypto or buy some stocks.
With where I'm at now, I'm not necessarily buying low, like buying the dip. What I'm doing is I'm investing a lot of time. So I'm giving my time, not giving my money. I'm giving my time. I'm trying to build a community of poor artwork. I'm not even going to call it bad or like terrible artwork. It's just not good artwork.
Well, you're focusing on the utility around it, right?
Yes.
I
So
think that's the important thing.
So
Gary Vee is a huge example of that. All of his NFT stuff, the artwork is not great. He's not known for the fantastic artwork or anything, but it's the utility that he's bringing around it that people are buying into.
It's funny you say that. Gary Vee is a lot of what we structure ours around. We're copying a lot of what he's doing and doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
But on our own way, like in our own way. So we have a collection. The NFT community I'm starting is called Our Crew NFT. We have different characters, different subsets, different categories of passion. So there's music dudes, athletes, taste buds, which are like food experiences, but like all these things tie into real life experiences. So, and then there's Vikings and burglars who rob and raid and can take the opportunity to win those experiences. And then there's mob bosses who have their hand in everything.
Interesting.
But basically, and then there's normies. Normies can hold like a pen or a chef knife or a basketball. And it gives you a small percentage to get entered into that like subset category raffle. So we're going to be doing raffles through gamification. And the value will come with the secondary market. So we're giving away our NFTs. There's going to be 10,000 of them. They're all free. But to be able to raffle off real-life experiences, like you want to go to the Super Bowl, or maybe you want to eat at Nursette's or Steakhouse. Like we're just going to be giving away these different experiences.
How will that be funded?
It will be funded through the community, and it will be funded through me and my business partner.
Okay.
Business partner, Mark. A good friend of mine. He's been one of my longtime sponsors for years for my MMA career. So we've always just had that bond. We've built multiple projects together. I've seen him find success in a lot of his passions in life as well. And the guy has a great heart. So it's someone I trust 110%.
Yeah.
This is brand new to me. So building is challenging, and I'm still trying to figure out what to do. But I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm networking well, and just I think I'm telling the story of myself, which is going to sell.
Yeah.
Because if there are good founders, it's easy. Good founders. If there are good people who are the founders, it's easy to want to be a part of that community.
I think that's what it takes to be able to build an NFT community is a really good story behind it and good founders that people can feel good about. Because if you think about it, really, if the utility is the important thing, right? You're kind of selling the idea and the hope that people that buy into it or become a part of it will find that utility.
Yes.
And to be able to sell that, they have to feel good about who's running it, right? You're not going to feel good about it if you don't feel good about the person running it. And you're not going to believe that utility is at the end of the rainbow, so to speak.
So the money will come off the secondary market. So all of these NFTs will be minted. People will own, I think, a maximum of 3. Once everything's minted, the value comes in reselling. So when people resell, any profit made from that will go back into the project to where we can buy more experiences.
There's a portion of that you get as a fee for having been the originator of that.
Yeah.
NFT,
So
right?
when it comes to NFTs, there's people who collect them and just love being part of different subset groups and categories and communities because there's so many different communities. Really cool artwork too. Actually, I'm already thinking past this community, and I kind of want to start like another one, like a subset that kind of that can be you could be tied to both. But I want to start one with like really good artwork.
Yeah.
Like I want to really like have someone hire someone to have like a small collection and then be able to call that community my own.
Yeah, yeah.
Because right now it's me and Mark. This is our project. But one day I want to be able to do that. So there's the collectors. There's the people who flip them. So we'll have both. We're gonna have both within. And then we want the diehards as well.
Yeah.
So the people who see what we see, who like being
the long-term vision,
who like being entered in the raffles, yeah. And I mean, more than just the raffles and the raffle tech and the gamification, we're trying to build within that web. So with the food dudes, we want to build hot sauce. We want to have our own cold brew. My cousin has a chili oil company, so I'm trying to attach the chili oil company to it so people can have a place to like try chili oil. I've never had it. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're trying to create this whole community around all these different things.
Then eventually sports start sponsoring, local fighters or people who, like local solo athletes and just create, like, we already have our own clothing brand within it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like without giving too much out, like
bringing in all these different aspects.
So try to make real life businesses within Web3, which is what we're entering. And to see all the big players do it, Starbucks, Nike, like they have NFTs.
Yeah.
Which means if I sell you a pair of shoes, we do it through do an online transaction. So through, like, if I sell you a shoe, it'll have that NFT attached to it, which is the authenticated
Authenticated version of it.
Yes, I couldn't even get it. I couldn't. Get it. That's embarrassing, man. But
happens.
But you'll have the NFT and the shoe, and that shows its validity. So that's where they're trying to go with clothes. And I was texting Mark earlier today. V Friends, Gary V's community has, I think it's called Alpha Apes or Ape something, but they have their own clothing line, and they're giving away like clothing within that subset. It's just cool how all of that works. Like I said, I'm still learning. It's
just this incredible kind of Wild West hub of creativity that you could go a lot of directions with. I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Thank you. Yeah. And I wouldn't put time into something that wasn't worth my time. So in a perfect world, this thing hits off. This thing does everything we're trying to do with it. The financial will be there.
Yeah.
Like for the community and for the founders. Because like I said, there's people who flip, there's people who collect, and then there's the founders. And the founders, there will be profit to be made. I don't know the numbers. I'm new to this space, but mathematically, it'll be good for it could be like it can fund my fighting. Yeah. So
that would be huge.
That is the project I'm working on, so that I don't have to like really clock in.
Yeah.
And I love bartending, and I've started my own business within that, like mobile bartending and doing private events, which is fun. But NFTs will be a lot less work, a lot more profit.
Yep.
A lot less work in terms of like I don't have to go to an event.
Which leaves you more time to work on your craft.
Yes.
Bring yourself
which I
to the
don't
next
have
level.
forever in.
Yeah.
So. But it's an interesting space. For anyone who has no clue about it, I still do my own research. But the best way I can explain it is it's just keys. It's memberships.
Yeah.
It's just knowing people. And I think that there's extreme utility with it moving forward.
It's a very official way to create these communities.
Instagram now lets you attach your Ethereum wallet, so you can kind of show off your NFTs. I mean, that's what Twitter does. Like if I wanted to, I can make my profile picture, I can make it an NFT.
That I did know about. Yeah, I didn't know Instagram was bringing on that capability too.
You can do it now. Yeah.
Okay.
But I would never attach my wallet to a social media because people hack too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, you wouldn't want to like risk.
Maybe not my wallet, but like I'll show off an NFT, I guess. But I also what they call in this space doxed, DOXXED.
Like your personal information being put out there.
Yeah. So some people, it's not hiding behind a profile picture or an NFT picture, but some people just don't expose themselves, like who they really are, which is okay. That's majority of the space. But me and Mark, here's our faces. Here's what we do. We're not hiding anything.
I think that's important for an NFT community because people have to buy into the founders, like we were talking about earlier. You can't really find much success being anonymous the way we've seen it kind of play out, at least like over the first maybe like year or whatever it's been since they really came onto the scene. You can't succeed anonymously because people don't have any confidence in the founders.
People still do though. Like one of the biggest. Do
you think you can succeed long term that way?
Yeah. I literally have seen it unfold in my
Is it
eyes.
just being able to provide such utility that people don't care who the founders are?
Yes. Have you heard of Bored Ape Yacht Club?
Yeah. We were talking about this a little bit.
I would say that's the number one.
Are they still anonymous?
I think the names are out there, but
okay. But they started anonymously.
I couldn't tell you who owns it.
Yeah.
Right.
What's like your like the one kind of most important takeaway that you would want to leave the audience with about NFTs? Thing that excites you the most?
They're not what you think. It's its own language, and one that I recommend, because finances is its own language. It's another derivative of finances. If you're into stocks, it's the same. It's the same.
A lot of the same principles, yeah.
But you're not investing into like Tesla, McDonald's, Starbucks. You're investing into a community that can build for you.
Yeah, and with you.
I think we were talking about founders without being doxxed. So there's this guy named Frank DeGods. He's like the biggest name that I know, like the biggest name. I don't know what he looks like. He just has a picture, like an emoji, or NFT is his picture. He has a great influence. He just started, because DeGods is the #1 community on Solana, the #1 on Ethereum's Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands, like they're worth thousands to buy. They go for millions, like they resell for crazy.
Yeah.
These and like when people ask me, how do people have the like and you think you asked me that as well, why is it worth that much? Like what, like it's the utility, it's the community. Celebrities get behind it. Celebrities are part of it. Celebrities own their like Justin Bieber owns his own NFT community. Like there's a ton of it's just so broad. It's so crazy. Anyways, Bored Ape Yacht Club for Ethereum. Solana is going to be DeGods. Frank from DeGods used that momentum and that success and started this thing called Utes. This is where I got robbed. So Utes, there was a pre-mint. They handed out scholarships. So many people wanted to be a part of it. They had scholarship applications. I don't think I got mine in time, but they were like announcing who was getting accepted. I got scammed. Someone messaged me and was like, "Hey, you can mint," because I wanted to mint. I wanted to have my own Utes. You can mint at this website, and they copied exactly what the other website, the official website looked like.
Jeez.
So I clicked it. I attached my Ethereum wallet, and they robbed me of $60 worth of Ethereum. Mind you, it's a Solana project, so that I completely, that's my fault. I'm not
Just didn't know enough about the whole thing yet.
But apparently that happens a lot, and if you attach your wallet to the wrong, your Ethereum wallet or your Solana wallet to the wrong website, they can steal all your NFTs.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So just do your research, understand what you're getting into. Yes. It sounds like.
So I would look at, I look at cryptocurrency and stocks as the same thing. They all have the same value. Just I think that crypto was created with the purpose of decentralized finance.
Yeah.
So still learning.
Cool.
And hopefully I can educate people more.
Sounds like a valuable journey though. I've definitely enjoyed everything I've learned about it.
Because when I ask people, there's like, it's a scam. I'm like, what about it?
Yeah.
And then they'll send me a YouTube video, and then the YouTube video has good points, but you put money into something, you should know what you're putting money into.
Yeah, that goes for anything.
Like I'm not just gonna buy a random NFT because it looks cool.
Yeah.
I'm people to do though.
I think that goes for any kind of investment that you're making. You got to know what you're getting into.
Of course. Like for instance, I wasn't doing very well with Dogecoin or Shiba. Hype got me into it.
Yep.
I think the world kind of works like that in general. Starbucks and designer clothes, and it's just there's always going to be things that people gravitate to because of the masses, the influence of the masses. People follow the crowd.
Yep.
They do.
That's true.
That's that, man.
There you go. NFT talk.
Yeah.
So I have a couple repeat questions that I like to ask on every podcast. And I asked you the one before about being a professional. The other question I have is kind of having, and I'll choose kind of like the beginning of your MMA career, like your first organized fight as the starting point to base this off of. If you could kind of travel back in time and talk to a younger Mikey as you were first getting into organized fights, having the wisdom and the knowledge that you've gained over the 8 years that you've been in it, what are some things that you would do differently?
Oh, I thought I was gonna be like, what are you gonna tell yourself?
Yeah, well, I guess so. Kind of the same thing. What would you tell yourself to do differently?
Then do differently. Don't quit. I'm doing that. Take it more serious, because I'll always wonder what if. I would tell myself to dedicate your all to it.
Yeah.
I've eaten shit over the years. I try not to curse, but I've definitely had my fair share of failure and struggles and trials and tribulations. I think that I could have set myself up better to endure them, and I could have not put myself in them. I think that a lot of the mistakes that I made in the past still haunt me, and I'm still paying for them. And then the mistakes I've made even more recently, I'm still dealing with. So I'm trying to monitor myself.
Yeah.
Moving forward. But I just think that doesn't even apply to just my athletic career. It just applies to life. I think anybody should be able to do that, because I've made poor decisions in my past that I still have to answer for.
Yeah.
So I would probably tell myself to go all in, whatever, because I don't know what all in looks like. I work hard. I think I'm a hard worker. I have a great work ethic, but I don't think that it is all at a continuous rate. So let's just say I work hard 3 months straight. Something will happen in that 4th month. Then maybe I'll go back to it, 5, 6, 7, but then something will happen. So building consistency has always been my issue.
So you tell yourself to be a little bit better about that, a little more intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah. Intentionality.
Yeah. Just intentionality with your craft. Well, Mikey, anything else you would want to give to the audience? We've talked about a lot. Anything you would want to plug?
Be good to people. Be a good person. Love others. Be a gent. Having honeys. Having honeys is not cool. What else would I like to plug? I have a food Instagram. I've retired from Twitch. I used to be a Twitch streamer.
Oh, interesting.
It's fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's basically a live stream. You're just talking to an audience and playing games. Like it blew my mind how much success I had with it in a short time. I don't know, man. I would say my last message to people would just be invest in all your passions. Like embrace and
like that.
fully try to maximize all those passions. You know, like everyone has different interests. Everyone has different things that get their heart going. I just say stick to that. I would say that.
Follow your passions.
Find a way to incorporate it to your everyday life, forever.
Love that.
And I'm sure that'll interchange. You know, I'm sure I'll fall in love with new things, but try to enhance the quality of your life by doing things that make you happy to be alive.
I love that.
I'm grateful to be alive, dude. In the dark, in the light, good days, off. I don't believe in bad days. Good days, off days. I'm just happy to be alive. It really is such a crazy thing, life. So
I think that's a great place to leave it off, man. That's awesome. Well, thank you again for being on so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Time is the most valuable thing we have, so I'm glad that we got to spend it, man.
This has been a great use of it.
I'm grateful. Bro.
Awesome. Well, this has been Profession Session. My guest today has been Mikey Conlon of a really cool MMA career and NFTs and all kinds of cool stuff. We got real deep on this one. This has been a ton of fun, and thank you so much for tuning in. I will make it easy to find anything that could help you find Mikey in the details of this post if you're watching on YouTube, or the show notes if you're listening on audio. And until the next episode, thanks so much for tuning into Profession Session. I'm your host, Brody Vinson. Stay tuned for new episodes every week and short clips of deep dives into specific topics that I put out on different social media channels. We could be found on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, all major podcast platforms. You can find my guest in the details of this video or podcast. And if you happen to know a young standout business owner, professional, or entrepreneur that you think would be a good fit for Profession Session, DM me or get in contact with me anywhere and just let me know. And they could be the next to tell their story here. Until next time, again, this has been Profession Session. Stay focused, stay hustling, and stay networking.